It's the new anthem for the new era. Fins up.
Throw them fins up. Throw them fins up. Hit. Throw them fins up. Throw them fins up. Hit. Throw them fins up. Throw them fins up. Hit.
It's the new era and we back up in the mix.
Throw them fins up. Throw them fins up. Hit. Throw them fins up. Throw them fins up. Hit. Throw them fins up. Throw them fins up. Hit.
It's the new era and we back up in the mix.
But throw it up. Throw your foe up in the sky. Throw it up. Let them know that we gon' ride. Where you from? We be reppin' worldwide.
BWA, stay loyal till we die.
But it's the come up. We been down for a minute. This the come up. We been reppin' staying consistent. This the come up. Now the world gotta feel it. Reppin' so loud, whole world gotta hear it.
A new era.
Dolphins on the cliz-out, tiz-out, till we reach the tiz-out. This a never stiz-out, reppin' till we drizz-out. So low D, I be reppin' with this hip-hop. Throw them fins up, throw them fins up, hit, throw them fins up, throw them fins up, hit, throw them fins up, throw them fins up, hit.
It's the new era and we back up in the mix.
Throw them fins up, throw them fins up, hit, throw them fins up, throw them fins up, hit, throw them fins up. Throw them fins up, hit.
It's the new era and we back up in the mix.
It's the new era and we back up in the mix. Ain't no more relying on fits. It's time for Tua to get us lit. That's why we got Waddle at 6 and Jalen Phillips is a brick at 36. We got Javon Hollins, Madden hit stick. Eichenberg protecting hips. 2 whole years and he ain't slipped. Run along, he got that gritter, triple threat, he's so legit. Darnell Coleman, Jared Doak for 7th round was such a gift. That's why we toast, that's why we sip, that's why we reppin' MSM. Miami sports music, don't confuse it, don't abuse it. Unless you want a new contusion, real talk, ain't no illusion. Solo D started a movement, MSM the institution. TD Fins the contribution, yeah, we started a new unit.
Throw them fins up, throw them fins up, hit, throw them fins up, throw them fins up, hit, throw them fins up, throw them fins up, hit.
It's the new era and we back up in the mix.
Throw them fins up, throw them fins up, hit, throw them fins up, throw them fins up, hit, throw them fins up, throw them fins up, hit.
It's the new era and we back up in the mix.
MIAMIDOLPHINs. When do I begin? I've been rapping since a kid. If you rapping, then we can.
BWA, if you reppin', then we can.
Welcome to Persianville. We asking what would Shula do? He would take the narrative and spin it like a hula hoop. He say let it Coach Flow. Coach Flow gon' do his thing and he gon' bring it to it in and to it. Come and change the game. Watch the squad ball out. Got the fans all excited. Coolers out. Grills on. Got the tailgate ignited. It's the Aqua Society. They know we stay united. DWA. We be down and started right. Throw them fins up. Throw them fins up. Hit. Throw them fins up.
It's the new era and we back up in the mix.
Who that?
So low, so low, so low deep.
Try to tell. So good. But that's how we put it down. We put it down every time when it's time to show up for the fans. We out here. You dig?
They know it's coming. Yeah.
Yeah, with it, man. Let's go. DWA, man.
Hey, what's up? Y'all know who it is, man. The Dolphins D, we already in here. Ready to turn up this year. We gon' get it.
To Hard Rock Stadium.
We gon' defend. We gon' defend. Homie, this Zaha. We gon' defend. Remember he say his squad. We gon' defend. We gon' defend. Homie, this Zaha. We gon' defend. Remember he say his squad. I got the whole squad with me now. Train to go. Come play games if you want to. Try to crash eyes. You done took the wrong route. We gon' crash you like a stunt dude. Check y'all like 1, 2. Tap your head like your uncle. You wanna ride, stay buckle. It get loud down here, get wild down here. Turn the field to a jungle. Never disrespect the squad. It's defended by a 9 and some beasts on the feast on opposition. Another line in the back singing to the ER just in case you got through the first line with tripping. But if for some reason it get crazy, I got watchers on the corner for my safety. Everybody here well coached. Change the weather under pressure, stay cool like an AC. Woo! But we still make heat. Woo! simple as you trying to play me. We be 3 plus 8 deep, but I'm a fool so low, can't nothing break me. Be great, only way to do great things. Hit hard, only way to make a statement. Come up in our territory, make a payment. Or be in debt with your neck, gotta play. We gon' defend, we gon' defend, we gon' defend, we gon' defend. Homie, this side, homie, this side. And we gon' defend, and we gon' defend. Remember he say, his squad, 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 his squad. We gon' defend, we gon' defend, we gon' defend. Homie, this side, homie, this side. And we gon' defend, and we gon' defend. Remember he say, his squad, 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 his squad.
I hit them boys, we throw them toys. That saying that QB, we them boys. We the realest, we go gorillas. We out here, homie, you gon' feel us. Don't make me come down, get in that box. Like I'm red, I'll knock your socks. We don't play y'all boys, cause we some bullies. We'll take your cookies, cause y'all some rookies. I'm in the building, me and Shot Jones. We do lane, we don't play zone. We play that man, so guard your hands. I see your eyes, you're scared
we
man.
Gon' defend, we gon' defend, we gon' defend, we gon' defend. Homie, this side, homie, this side. And we gon' defend, and we gon' defend. Remember he say, his squad, 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 his squad. We gon' defend, we gon' defend, we gon' defend. Homie, this side, homie, this side. And we gon' defend, and we gon' defend. Remember he say, his squad, 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 his squad.
Too nice.
Welcome to Miami, Magic City.
Game time. Solo.
City you love to come visit.
Un cafecito en la mañana para levantar el ánimo.
Gracias.
Okay, vámonos, born in the Bronx, raised in Dade. Been in the city since Pitt had braids. Baja panty parties, but I know how to sneak me out. Now it's 7-figure meetings, every day we need a house. It's game time, the game's mine, you know the vibe. Yo viajaba el mundo entero, rapping 305. La comida, la mujer, la cultura. La vecina con su gallo, que locura. En el verano es verano y en invierno el verano. Dime qué ciudad lo tiene así bacano. Cocaine capital, so guess what, we been good. We know to flip things, do what we did to win wood. D-A-D-E. Welcome to Miami, the city that made me.
I got a pair of flip-flops and a tank top.
Only in day.
Lights got spinning, now I can't stop.
Only in day.
Sipping cafecito at them little cups.
Only in day.
In my head, we get a lot.
Hey guys, I'm Danny Johnson, CEO at TPP, the Positive Porpoise.
I'm Jason Miller from Fins Up SoCal Fan Club.
I'm Scott Howell from Atlanta Dolphin Club.
Mark Angelo, NorCal Dolphin Club.
And you're listening to Clock Blockers, Miami fans' #1 morning show.
Run it, 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 run it.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Stephen D, and we are live on this beautiful Spread Kindness Friday. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Super excited to be hanging out with y'all on this beautiful, beautiful Spread Kindness Friday morning. Thank you for joining the show. I'm gonna yell at Christolakis a little bit. Christolakis, really, my guy? You're working against me. Talking about the interview with Flores on I Am Athlete dropped this morning. You trying to send people away from my channel. That doesn't help me. And just so you know, it hasn't dropped yet. It's only a 1 minute and 14 second clip, which we're going to get into. We're going to break that 1 minute and 14 second clip down. Yeah, the full interview hasn't dropped yet. So don't let Christolakis fool y'all. Stay right here for the best action. Stay right here for the best Miami Dolphins talk. Okay, hey, look, a lot of things to go and talk about this morning, and we're going to get into all that. So let's just do great today and spread kindness. You guys, I'm Stephen D, host of the #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers. Super excited you guys are here this morning. Want to say good morning to my Fins family and my Fin-laws. You guys are the best in the world. Guys, if you want to follow Miami Sports Music on social media, you guys can follow them at Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Miami Sports Music. You guys can also follow them on Twitter at MIA Sports Music. So make sure you guys go and do that. Hey, if you haven't done so already, on your way in, hit the like button. Hit the like button. Share, hit the like button. Let's go. We'll make that happen. And subscribe to the channel. The channel's we're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers before the NFL draft. Do you think we can do it? Well, I know I can't do it without your help, so make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. And if you have friends, tell them about the channel. Let's go. Let's go. All right, so hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and make that happen. Also, want to remind you guys, too, join the family. Join the family. Make sure you guys join the family. There are plenty of amazing, awesome things that you get when you guys become a member of the channel. And there's a lot of you that are here each and every day and aren't members of the channel. Sign up. Join today. It's Friday. There's not a better day to do it than today. So make sure you guys join, sign up, become a member today. A lot of access to perks and a lot of amazing things like that. All right. Also, hey, I want to remind you guys, too, if you guys want to donate to the channel, you guys can help the channel grow by donating. There's 3 different ways you guys can do that. Way number 1 is the YouTube live super chat button, which is the $sign down at the below the bottom of the chat. You guys can use that, or you guys can also use PayPal, which is MSM Podcast Network. You guys can use this QR code that you see on the screen and donate that way, or you guys can also use Cash App, which is $MSM Podcast Network. And just a reminder, PayPal and Cash App take out less fees, so it's always the premier and primary way we ask that you donate. But if you guys donate through the YouTube, I ain't mad at you either, because it all goes such a long way into helping the channel grow. Just remember, YouTube takes out like 48%. Okay? Just want to remind you all. All right, want to give a big shout out to Tail Greeter. Tail Greeter is our sponsor of this amazing show, and they're absolutely an amazing sponsor. Why is that? Because each and every event that you are at, I don't care if it's a concert, I don't care if it's NASCAR, football, baseball, whatever. If you guys want to go to the best tailgate in the land, you guys download the app today, Tail Greeter. Download the app on your current Apple or Android device today, and Tail Greeter is the way that you're going to do it. You're going to find out wherever you're going to be at, whatever event you're going to be at, and you're going to see if there's a tailgate near you. And there's a lot. Just because football season's over doesn't mean the tailgate doesn't stop. There's a lot of tailgates going on throughout the country. There'll be a lot down in Daytona this weekend for the Daytona 500, so make sure you guys check them out, because they're going to have a lot going on for the Daytona 500 this weekend. All right. Again, I want to remind you all, follow me on Twitter at Stephen D. SKPL. Spread kindness, positivity, and love. But now that I got all that out the way, good morning, y'all. What is up? What is going on? Let me say hello to the people in the chat this morning. Let me see hello to the people in the chat. Who I got in here? I got Chase One. I got Flipside Fishing. Chef Jew is in the building. Alexander Diaz, what's going on? Pete's Takes. Von, Joe, Mr. Clanging and Banging himself. Sean Tunzel. What's up, Sean? How are you, dude? Cap for Life is in the building. Shout out to you, Cap. Christolakis. See? Christolakis. You ain't say nothing. I don't know if you went away. I yelled at you a little bit ago. You better hit the rewind button. Cap for life. Sam Madison wants Watson. What's up, man? Bob Young. Good morning, Bob Young. Jason Miller is in the building. What's up? Fins up SoCal. Southern California. Ladies and gentlemen, it is awesome. It is awesome. See, we have a bot in here this morning. Get the bot on out of here. Jose Valdez, what's up, Jose? Scar 305. I'm thinking that might be it. Jamal Orange, what's up, Jamal? How are you doing this morning? Raul, good morning, Raul. What is up with you, man? How are you? And yeah, I think that's it. At that name. Roach Tail says he passed his midterms at 80%. He was listening to us during his midterms yesterday in his class, in his ear. So shout out to Roach Tails for passing your midterm. My guy, what is up? That's how you do it, man. Shout out to you and passing your midterm. You know what, Roach Tails? For you passing your midterms today, everybody should donate $80 to the channel. If you pass that 80%, everybody should just donate $80. I'm just saying. Shout out to Andrevius is in the building. Spread anger Fridays? No, we're not doing that. We're not spreading anger. It's spread kindness. Spread kindness Friday, Andrevius. God, what it is with you guys. Let's see here. Uncle YouTube tax is high, 48%. Yo, no doubt, Chase. No doubt. It is, man. It's no joke. It is no joke. And I've just kind of like started to learn that. And so tax season is here too. And there's even more going to come out. So I tell y'all, if y'all donate, please do it through Cash App and whatever it's called, PayPal. I'm going to start a Patreon page this year too. So be on the lookout for Patreon because that's going to be big too. So got a lot going on. Things are moving. Things are happening. I got a surprise hopefully for y'all next week with a brand new sponsor maybe. So I'm excited about that. Maybe another one on the board too. Look, things are moving here at the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. Y'all are the best. Alexander Renee Diaz says, I'll start it off, by the way. Send you the video in a Twitter chat. Hey, man, I saw Alexander. I'm going to play it here in a little bit. There is something else I want to talk about first. That's kind of not related to that because I know the conversation is going to dictate on a Dolphins channel that we are. That will be it. But there's something else that I kind of want to talk about because I think it plays a lot into sports. I know it's in Major League Baseball, but I think it's a lot. Crystalaka says, sorry for spreading the fake news. Don't put me in timeout. Crystalakis, not only did you spread fake news, you tried to get people to leave my channel to go spread your fake news. Okay, Crystalakis? I'm hurt. Betrayal. Those are words that I would associate with that. You hurt my feelings, Crystalakis. I love you, Chris. You're the man. All right, so let me go ahead and actually share the screen for this. So there is a trial. There's a baseball player named Tyler Skaggs. Tyler Skaggs was a Major League Baseball pitcher for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim who died of a drug overdose in his hotel room a few years back. And they finally got around to everything, to the trial because they found out who his drug supplier was and put him on trial. And it's very interesting because Major League Baseball players, current and former ones, took the stand and testified. And two people that testified were Matt Harvey, who's a pitcher who pitched for the Mets, pitched for the Orioles, pitched a lot of people, and CJ Crone. And they admitted to receiving pills from Eric K., the guy who was on trial on Tuesday. But the other thing that I find interesting is that he said in some of the court documents in the testimony that was there, they said Matt Harvey said that he exchanged pills openly in the clubhouse with Tyler Skaggs. He said he received Percocet from a hockey player, but did not name the player. It's very. He describes the culture in MLB players were desperate to stay on the field and play through injuries. The New York Mets star also talked about using cocaine at parties. He said he was still using cocaine when he went to California, saying his teammates did not ask him about his drug use. There's a lot here. Like, I think we in sports don't realize how big this story is. We're not giving it its just due credit for three reasons. Number one, it's on the back burner. Nobody's really talking about it, which sucks. It should be one of the leading news stories in sports. Number two, it's baseball. And baseball, they have a big problem with marketing. And the last thing you want is, hey, one of your players drug overdosed in the hotel room, and you have an open clubhouse. You have an open air about you to using narcotics in the majors. That's still prevalent. And it's very, very interesting from that standpoint. TJ Quinn, who's been covering the story for ESPN, basically said Skaggs asked him for pills before a couple of road trips in June of 2019, including one where he said he wanted Oxy to feel loosey-goosey before a start. That's interesting. The day before Skaggs' death, Harvey asked K is the drug supplier, for oxycodone. After being told he wasn't going on the road trip with the team, Harvey said K left the pill in his locker. Harvey did not take it that day. And once he heard about Skaggs' death the next day, he threw out the pill. Harvey says that in June of 2019, the day the Angels flew out to Texas, he found last minute he wasn't going, was upset to miss out, and hid from other players. Said he discussed getting blue oxy from K. K put it in his locker, didn't take it the next day when he found out Skaggs had overdosed. CJ Crone admits getting, pills from K, who's another Major League Baseball player. He says, yes, I took them before the game, never took them mid-game of anything like that. I don't think there's a difference whether you take a pregame or during the game. Do you consider that, performance-enhancing drugs? If you are taking something to make you feel, to give you an edge, is that performance-enhancing drugs? It's very interesting from that standpoint. Like, I think we need to realize, like, this is a big, big deal. And they could have asked a lot. I would have loved for the prosecutor to ask a million more questions to Matt Harvey. Because Matt Harvey, being a Major League Baseball pitcher who pretty much openly admitting, yes, there's cocaine use, there's open, there was a huge problem with cocaine, obviously, in the 70s, right? And in the 80s, in Major League Baseball, period. But in all over. And they got away from that in the late 80s, but then steroids were the big thing. And so 1998, I tell people all the time, Major League Baseball, after a lockout for an entire year, which included a lockout of the World Series, baseball was in a deathly state. And so then you take this, and 4 years later, you have the home run race in 1998, which Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire single-handedly, I might add, saved the state of baseball. They saved baseball. So, yeah, I don't think Alexander, he says, very sad story. I hope he goes to jail for the rest of his life. I don't know if he deserves to go to jail for the rest of his life. I think he deserves to serve some serious time. But this is something, and that's a morality thing. I don't know how other people might feel or not feel about that. This is the point I'm trying to make, is if you think Tyler Skaggs and Matt Harvey and CJ Crone were the only ones using oxycodone, Percocets, and cocaine in a Major League Baseball clubhouse, y'all got another thing coming. How prevalent is this in sports right now is my question. Let me tell y'all right now, Major League Baseball clubhouse attendance as we speak, getting rid of all signs of that. All signs of that. Pitchers and catchers haven't reported to Major League Baseball camps yet, but minor leagues have already started to report. It's interesting. Like, I wish that, you know, and not only that, if a hockey player also was involved and he didn't want to name the hockey player, Matt Harvey or CJ Crone, one of those two, said that a hockey player gave him drugs as well, cocaine. What do you guys think is happening in an NFL locker room or an NBA locker room? It's crazy to me to think this. Look, I get all these guys have lives outside of playing the game. I get that they all, have character flaws, issues. Look, I'll say this about when it comes to money, right? Money makes you 10 times of who you are as a person already. So if you are a drug addict, 9 times out of 10, when you have money, it's going to make you more of a drug addict. When you are somebody who freely gives, when you have money, 9 times out of 10, it's going to make you freely give more. When you are like it just enhances the person that you are, morals, ethics, whatever, to begin with, character flaws and all. So when you're looking at all this, you have to understand that a Major League Baseball clubhouse, one of the things that always bothered me, and I'm going to go on a little rant here, and I apologize, but one of the things that always bothered me, Bud Selig was the commissioner of baseball for years, and I'm not a huge fan of Bud. Matter of fact, I think I'm not a big fan of Bud Selig at all. And I'll tell you the exact reason why I'm not a big fan of Bud Selig. Bud Selig, and it's funny because commissioners of professional sports league get bad raps anyway. We can say all we want about Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell has improved the marketing of NFL in his tenure as the commissioner of the game. We can say all we want about Adam Silver. Adam Silver has also moved the players in the right direction in marketing and everything of the game. He's improved the game. I don't know if Gary Bettman has for the NHL, but I'm telling you right now, Bud Selig and Rob Manfred, trash, both of them. Not a fan of either one. But I'll say this. I'll say that Bud Selig, who was the commissioner of baseball for years, would say, he was the owner of the Milwaukee Brewers. He was an owner of a team that was heavily involved in the baseball operations of his team. He wasn't a Stephen Ross who was there once a week and flew down part-time. He was there every day, knew everything, was in and out of the clubhouse. And I quote, this is Bud Selig's testimony to Congress. I don't know what's going on in my clubhouse. I'm an owner. How am I supposed to know what goes on in my clubhouse every single day? Let me tell you something. You own a billion-dollar, a multi-million-dollar, I won't say billion. They're not billion. They might be now, but you own $1 million business. You know what's going on in your, the ins and outs of your business. Don't act like you don't. And baseball was in such a bad state in 1994, they didn't care that the players were shooting steroids. They didn't care. They knew they were hitting home runs and viewership in Major League Baseball. They were cutting. You remember 1998? You weren't, even if you're not a baseball fan, they cut into live news coverage for Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa at-bats that summer. Live news coverage. That was the talk. So I go back to say all this. There's no way that Major League Baseball owners, GMs, whoever, don't know actively today who's using Percocets, who's using oxycodone, who's using cocaine. They know all these things of these players. You know what they're doing? They're doing three things. They're turning the other way, because as long as they're producing for them, I don't care if they're hurting themselves, or there's a problem with that. There's a big problem with that. And then the other thing you have to understand is, the second thing that you also have to understand is from a moral point of view, is some of these players really need help. Brett Favre is somebody that will be the first to tell you he was hooked on painkillers for years. Oxycodone, all that. And it started with an injury. And most of these people, yes, started with an injury. That's why I'm a huge advocate for THC in the games. I think these players should be able to smoke weed. I think they should be able to take gummies. I think there should be doctor supervision. I think we really need to realize that a lot of these players have compulsive personalities, and it's real easy to understand, the moment you give a player oxycodone, it pushes them to an opportunity to get hooked on this drug. Percocets, all that. And especially when you use it and you crush it up and snort it. Like the Matt Harvey and CJ Cron's testimony was saying that they crushed it and snorted it in the locker room. It's no joke. And I'm telling you, this is a news story that should not be ignored. Like, we should be talking about it. It should be one of the number one talked about things on all sports morning shows. On all sports shows, period. So it's interesting when you guys talk about many different things on levels when it comes to professional athletes. And hey, look, the players, they're grown men. They need to look, they're human beings with character flaws. And when you have a structure of management in these professional franchises, coach, what they're if you see something wrong, it's not about being a snitch. It's about, hey man, I'm really worried about you. I would love to be able to help you with this. What can I do? So we need to get rid of the mentality of the snitch thing. That needs to go. Because that's another problem on why maybe the clubhouse attendant or whoever is not even talking about what they're seeing inside a locker room. So there's so many levels to this, and I think we need to realize that you guys need to go and look at some of this testimony that was talked about. Tyler Skaggs' trial testimony. It was crazy. It was crazy. And the same thing that came out in the Flores lawsuit. I think there's a story here that's bigger than we think it is. Now, there's two things. There's a thing that's going to happen that's not going to happen in front of it. People are going to sweep this. They're already sweeping it under the rug. It's not a big news story. And nobody's going to correlate that to, hey, there's a problem inside of professional locker rooms in sports with drugs, with active drug use. Call it what you want. Call it what you want. And so, if I am a professional, if I own a professional sports team right now, oh man, there's so much that I'm doing. There is so much that I'm going to do. I think, there's all these professional sports teams should have psychiatrists and mental health advocate counselors on staff. Or they should have, or the NFL or these player associations should have representatives actively going to each team and stating, hey, if you guys have a problem with drugs, if you guys are addicted to painkillers, if you guys are abusing drugs and you guys want help, here's an anonymous place to go and fix this. But let's not do two things whenever it comes out again, right? Let's not blame the player. I'm not blaming Tyler Skaggs. I'm not blaming Matt Harvey or CJ Crone. Addiction is addiction. And if there is nobody advocating for you to change your lifestyle, and by the way, GMs, head coaches, managers, they're not doing that. As long as you're winning us games, I don't care what you do. As long as you're not out making a butt out of yourselves, I don't care what you do. That's what they're saying. That's what NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL, NBA teams are saying to their players right now. So I think people, I don't know what the answer is. I just know part of the answer is these teams and leagues actually caring about their players, which has never happened. In my opinion, they don't care. They don't care. And they don't really care about the fans either. As long as these owners are making bukus of money and these GMs are making money and the teams are making most GMs want to win, don't get me wrong. But as long as the owner's making money, the GMs are putting a competitive team on the field and trying to compete, people don't care. People don't care. Who's the tight end in Vegas? Who's the tight end in Vegas? I don't know why I'm having a brain fart. I can't think of his name right now. Waller? Is it Waller? He was drafted to the Baltimore Ravens. And he was addicted to drugs. And the Ravens really didn't do anything to help the process. He ended up getting released. He ruined his own career at that moment. But went to rehab, found the necessary resources, and then turned his whole career around. Now he's arguably top 5 tight end in the game. And he could have been that for the Ravens if the Ravens had chosen to say, let's put the person before the player. They didn't do that. And most teams don't. There needs to be a change of thinking in sports. And the change in thinking is we need to stop looking at these athletes like gods and wins and losses and what they can do for your team. And you need to start treating them like people. And you start treating these athletes like people, you're going to find out a thing or two. You know what you're going to find out? These people are going to stay loyal. They're going to start taking hometown discounts. They're going to make sure that they put the best product on the field because you care about them. And then people are going to want to come play for you because players talk to each other. Oh, man, these Dolphins, I was in a bad place. They gave me all the mental, they took care of me. They saved my life. I'll be a Miami Dolphin forever. I don't care what it is. And that shouldn't be the reason for doing it, but I guarantee you that will be, a positive that comes from that. Invest in the person, not in the player. And if you invest in the person, I guarantee you, man, these players talk. They know what franchises suck and what franchises don't. You think a player, when he goes for a visit in free agency, is learning about that place or team for the first time? Heck no. He's got a friend or has a friend of a friend that knows way too much or knows so much about that, right? They know so much about that. So why is it at the end of the day, teams, in the recruiting process, like you can sit here and try to BS me all you want. I know what you do. I don't know, man. What do I know? I just know that story bothers me. I have a morning show, and I chose to speak about it because nobody else is. Nobody's talking about it. And quite frankly, it's sad. It's sad is what it is. And it really pisses me off, So this is Clock Blockers, home of the #1 Miami fan morning show, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. Stop snoozing with Stephen D. What's going on, everybody? If you guys haven't done so already, hit that like button. Only 28 likes in the building, guys. Please share this. Go on Twitter. Share this. Let people know that we're here. A lot of things going on today. One of those things being a 2 or like a little over a minute sound clip of Brian Flores on the I Am Athlete podcast. Now, for those of you who don't know, I Am Athlete is a brand and podcast that was created by Brandon Marshall and Chad Ochocinco and a few other people. Channing Crowder, I think, was part of that, who's not with the podcast anymore. They went and did their own thing called Pivot. Big shout out to them, too. There's a lot of different things that they do, but I Am Athlete's a great podcast. If you guys ever want to check out some really good content, check those guys out. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of stuff that has come out. Now, Brian Flores is the next guest on I Am Athlete. Okay, he's the next guest up there. Now, the full interview has not released yet. It has not dropped. It's just this clip that's dropped so far. And in this clip, Flores talks about his relationship with Tua and basically what is real and what is not real. Now, if I'm looking here correctly, Omar Kelly is also part of the podcast too. So there's Chad, there's Brandon, there's Omar, from what it looks like. So we'll go ahead and let me play the clip because it's a very interesting clip.
This is an interesting topic because it wasn't strained. We had a good relationship. It was a player-coach relationship. And I think in a relationship like that, the coach challenges the player. And oftentimes the player challenges the coach. And I think there was a great deal of respect between the two of us. So you hear these crazy this narrative that's out there. But this is a young man who works, who developed and got better over 2 years. And, I think he's got a bright future, and I wish him all the best. So the world can think what it wants to think. I think ask Tua, I'm here to say what I got to say, and you can ask him. So I think he'd say the same thing.
I Am Athlete, by the way, their stuff is crazy. I love all their stuff, but it's so funny that everybody in the chat is like snitch and that. I don't know what to say other than it's so funny, the reaction, how triggering Flores is to the fan base. I mean, if you go look at this chat right now, I mean, it's all triggering to y'all. There's something to be said there of Omar Kelly sitting there, because Omar Kelly, I believe, was one of the people that was saying that there were these things that were happening behind closed doors under Flores' tenure. And Flores is saying, no, we got along. Go ask Tua. And I would like for Tua to come on record and say, hey, I said this or I said that. I don't think that Flores is a snitch. Let's just put that out there. That narrative needs to stop. There's two problems I have with Flores. And I'm not blaming him because I understand the world and how it is. But if you're asking me my opinion of it, I would say that Flores, when the bribe supposedly happened, should have stood up then. He didn't say anything about it till after he got fired. Jose Valdez, what was the point of playing that little clickbait against Steven? I don't do clickbait. That's all Dolphins Twitter's talking about right now, Jose. Like it's interesting that is the narrative. Like y'all want to call Flo a snitch. He's not a snitch. Should he have spoken up before he did? Yes. I think he should have. If it really bothered you that way or you were upset about it, say something then. The other thing I also say too, right, wrong, good, bad, or indifferent, there's a boys club, right? Let's just call it what it is. There's a boys club within the game. Now you have broke code by talking about stuff behind closed doors. And if you want to be mad at him for breaking the code, I'll give you that. As a fan, I'll give you that. But he's not a snitch. He has a right to say what he was saying. And everything else he has said is 100% true. He was put on sham interviews. I'm not discrediting that. I think he was. And the hiring practices in the NFL are absolutely ludicrous when it comes to people of color and minorities. He's 100% correct in those things. He would not have said anything had he not gotten fired. I don't disagree with that. But that doesn't make this guy a snitch. He broke code, but I don't think he's a snitch. So y'all can be mad at him for potentially. Now, I will tell you, if Ross ends up if he sells the team or is forced to sell the team as a result of this, I'm not mad at it. Let's just get that straight. I'm not. I think it's so, and here's the other thing that bothers me about the fan base right now too. Right? Y'all are sitting here looking and being at Brian Flores' throat, right? And the thing that bothers me about that in many different ways is when the Ricky Williams situation happened, y'all don't remember what this fan base was to Ricky. A majority of this fan base, a majority of them, ripped and killed Ricky. Did not want nothing to do with him. Thought he was, how could you retire and leave this team hanging? How dare you? How dare you? That's what people were saying about Ricky. Y'all put that man on a cross and the stake and burned him alive. Don't tell me you didn't. I remember it. I remember what the national media was doing to Ricky. I remember what the local media was doing to Ricky. You guys crucified that man on a stake. And you all are doing the same thing with Flores. And the problem is 15 years later with Ricky, Ricky's the guy that's out on top. He's the one that looks good in all this now because he was correct. Ricky had a problem with mental health and used weed as a way to cope with it. I love Ricky Williams. And I'm sad that I didn't know. I'm only 33. I was 15 or 14 when the whole Ricky Williams saga went down? I didn't know enough about mental health or anything like that. I'm still a teenager. So the other problem with the media is I'm looking at the media and I'm agreeing with them. Oh man, Ricky left the Dolphins hanging. Oh my God, I can't believe they did that. I can't believe he would do something like that. How could he just quit on his team for some weed? Man, now we know that's the most stupidest, insane, asinine thing to say. He didn't quit on his team for that. And he didn't quit on his team, period. He had to remove himself and put himself in a better mental position, or something really bad was going to happen to him. At his own hand, maybe. I love Ricky Williams. One of my dreams of doing this morning show was having the opportunity to interview him. But y'all crucified that man. And y'all are doing the same thing to Flores now. Y'all are doing the same thing to Flores now. And I'm telling you, I think y'all are wrong. I'm going to call it what it is. Do I want Flores? No. Look, I'm going to be perfectly honest and tell you that I think he also has character flaws that he was not willing to change, which is part of the reason he's not here anymore. I don't think it had anything to do with his color, the color of his skin here in Miami. I think it had to do with his personality. 100%, that's what I think. But that doesn't make him a bad guy. That he's got a character flaw. And the thing is, if he ever does get a chance to go and coach somewhere else, he's going to learn from it. Any smart coach would. And he's not dumb. He's smart. Bond954 says, I ain't crucifying him. I definitely think a lot of shady stuff happened while he was here, but the victim narrative he is playing is a bit exaggerated too. You have to understand, he has a class action lawsuit against one of the most powerful organizations in the world. Not the country, the world. The NFL's a multi-billion, with a billion organization in the world. He's got a class action lawsuit against them. He's got to play the part. I said two things the moment this class action happened. I said, number one, nobody's going to talk about what needs to be talked about, which is the problem with the Rooney Rule, the racism that happens within the NFL, and all of that. They're not going to talk about that. What they're going to talk about is two things that are in this lawsuit. They're going to talk about the pay for losses, because that, I think, will become the biggest story out of all this. And they will critique and criticize his tenure here in Miami, which in theory has nothing to do with the majority of what the lawsuit is. He filed a lawsuit after nobody hired him. What a clown. AB. So let me break this down for you, dude. So you're right. Nobody hired him. I truly think on everything, he would have been a head coach either in Chicago, New York, or Houston. Chicago and New York truly took a guy over him because they thought he was the better candidate for the job. I believe the Giants wanted everything to do with Brian Daboll. I do believe that. But I believe that Flores had a real shot at Houston. Y'all telling me that Josh McCown was being? No way. Flores was legit. But the moment he dropped that lawsuit and all the drama that surrounds Houston anyway, they weren't touching that with a 10-foot pole. So they only had one option because I believe McCown was the guy that they wanted. But they're like, we got to hire a black head coach. So they went out and got Lovie Smith, who, by the way, deserves it. I think Lovie deserves another shot. Does he come forward, Steven, if he doesn't get fired? No, he doesn't. He does not. But the fact of the matter is he did. And what he did, and so, you know, with him, and I also feel he probably does feel jaded. He does feel jaded, right? The man was fired, and the theory or the assumption out there is that he didn't get along with others. He wouldn't listen to other people. Now, what I'm interested to know in the I Am Athlete podcast interview, whenever that whole interview drops, is do they ask the question about Stephen Ross? Do they ask the questions about, I'm sure there's stuff he's not allowed to say because there's an active class action lawsuit out. But I think when it's all said and done, he's saying these things because he's like, bro, you're putting a narrative out here that I don't work well with others, and that's some of that's just not true, maybe. In his eyes. When you work at a job and you get fired for whatever reason, part of what they say usually is unwillingness to work with others. That's just 9 times out of 10 what gets said. And to him, it might have been, it wasn't my unwillingness to work with others. This is what I thought would take to be a successful franchise. They didn't want to listen to me. And I wasn't going to adhere to them because I figure if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down on my own narrative and my own morals and goals or whatever. And that's what he did. That's what Flores did. Now, from the outside looking in, who said it? Was it Hugh Jackson or it was somebody who said it was a former head coach? No, it was what's his face? McDaniels, who now's the head coach of Vegas, said that one of the reasons it didn't work out for me in Denver, and I quote, I wasn't willing to listen to other people there. I wasn't willing to take direction. I had to be the guy there. AB says, Steven, we get it. We get it. You in love with Flores. Good for you. I'm not in love with Flores. I'm not in love with the man. I said if he's not willing to bring in a veteran coordinator and change something, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results, he's got to go. But if you're going to let him go, you better have a damn good reason, swear jar for myself, reason, and have somebody in place to have him ready to go. You don't let him go without having a bullet in the gun. And I think the Miami Dolphins' top 2 picks were Jim Harbaugh and Mike McDaniel. Those were their top 2 picks. That's who Stephen Ross and Greer wanted, were one of those 2 guys. From day one. Day one. And they got one of the guys that they wanted. So to them, it's a win. But it has nothing to do with me. I see. Look, I have two eyes. I've been watching this team for all my life, 30 years, 30 plus years. I've seen what a great organization does in my own division for 20 years. You know why Robert Kraft's a good owner? Because he sits back and lets Belichick does everything. He lets him do whatever he needs to do to win. And here's the best part about it. Belichick or Kraft, when Belichick and Brady were having their breakup, who did Kraft side with? The GM and the head coach. Now, I'm not saying he was right because Brady went down and won a ring, and they haven't won one yet, but it's only been 2 years. So there is a lot to be said. There's a lot to be said from this, right? I think the narrative of saying that Flores is a snitch needs to stop. It's not fair. It's not, because I'm telling you, you're going to be wrong. Pete says, good job today, Steven. You're rocking. Keep it up. Appreciate the $10 donation, Pete. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. If you guys want to donate to the channel, you guys can use the YouTube Live Super Chat, the $sign down at the bottom of the chat. Or you guys can use Cash App or PayPal. And if you look in the description below, you'll see the links for Cash App and PayPal. But I'm telling y'all right now, like, whenever the whole interview drops, I think there's things that he will be allowed to say and not allowed to say. Now, I think I Am Athlete probably went in and said, look, if we do this, we need you to say something. But I think the conversation is going to be more geared towards racism in football and the hiring processes and the Rooney Rule and what's wrong with it. And by the way, that's where the conversation should be here. The other thing that we have to realize as all it is a continuous smear campaign against Flo without any evidence themselves. AB says snitch fits like a glove. That's fine. Like, here's the problem. The media and the narrative within the fan base is going to be divided. There's going to be people that side with Tua, and there's going to be that people that say that not necessarily are Tua ears, but they're going to be like, you know what? All right, hey, look, he's gone. Flores is gone. It's whatever. He just needs to shut up. Why is he taking down the ship after he left? Because he didn't get a job? That's not that. How dare you? God forbid. Level 2 Noob says, in Flores' initial interview, he said he knew he was likely sacrificing future coaching jobs, and as soon as he wasn't hired by the Texans, he added them to the lawsuit for retaliation. That's a bad look. I think he has legit, Level 2 Noob, I think he has a legit lawsuit against them. Flores was down to the final. Here's the thing that Flores is going to lose there, right? And Houston, I don't know if it was smart, but I think it was definitely, they covered their butts. Let's put it that way. Houston went out and hired a black head coach. I'm telling you who Houston wanted as a head coach, Josh McCown. Why? No idea. But they wanted him as a head coach. He was down to the final two. So they say. They wanted McCown, but they knew if they didn't hire a black head coach, that they had, then it was legit. They had something on their hands. Because I'll say this much, whether it was Lovie Smith or Josh McCown from Houston, Flores, the reason he didn't get the job in Houston wasn't because he wasn't a qualified or good enough candidate. It was because he had the lawsuit up against the league. Lovey unfortunately got dragged in the middle of this. Lovey is more than deserving to be an NFL head coach, but it's not who Houston wanted originally. That's my belief of it. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just telling you that's what I think. Flores, yes. The one thing I will give you is that he should have stepped up and said something when it happened. But who's going to do that? Nobody's going to do that. He's making millions of dollars as an NFL head coach. He's not going to do that. I'm sure, though, in the back of his mind, he was like, all right, well, look, if y'all ever let me go, I'm singing like a canary. That much I'll say he might have done. Von954 with another $10 donation. Thank you guys for the donations this morning. Keep rolling them in. Okay, the Rooney Rule is flawed and kind of pointless, right? We would say affirmative action in the same boat. Generally asking to see how others view the two. All right, Von954. So the Rooney Rule is flawed in every way, shape, or form. The Rooney Rule basically states that you have to interview a minority candidate in your hiring process. But it doesn't say when, it doesn't say how, whatever. And basically just says it makes it that the intention of it was good. The intention is, hey, look, there are plenty of black coordinators, coaches that deserve the opportunity to be head coaches, but they're not even getting interviewed. And if they're not even getting interviewed, how are they ever going to at least have a shot to get it? So the intention of the Rooney Rule, I think, was pure and good. Here's where it gets flawed. It gets flawed with people, right? People want to check off a box. Hey, I interviewed Eric Bieniemy 50 million times. If anybody has a lawsuit against the league, it's Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy could sign up for that class action any day he wants and be 100% in his rightful mind to do it. Because that man has been interviewed more than anybody I know to not get a head coaching position. And the reason that he was interviewed was because he was, number one, he's more than qualified. Let's just get that straight. But he was interviewed because they had to interview a minority candidate during their hiring process. But again, it gets flawed because owners and GMs, they're going to get the guy that they want. That's what's going to happen. Von944 says affirmative action is checking box companies have to hire a certain amount of minorities, which I guess is better than just giving an interview. You know what's going to change. And look, it's tough for me. Look, I'm in an interracial marriage, but and I get as a white man, it's probably tough for me to say this, but you know what's going to change? When minority candidates get into the head coaching positions, they hire a minority staff and bring them up with them. That's part of what needs to happen. Right? Good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just telling you that's part of what needs to happen. And people will probably disagree with me with that. That's fine. I'm just telling, that Crystal Locke says, Steven, you're white? Yes, I am. You didn't know this? I got some other stuff in me. I don't know. I'm a mutt. But fact of the matter is the affirmative action part is, that's where the difference is. I think Von954 hit the nail on the head to your question there. To your own question. You asked your own question and then answered it, Von954. What are you doing? Steven is the opposite Oreo. Y'all are funny. Thought you were Hispanic. No habla español. Carrie P says, so black power is the solution to anti-black racism. You want to know why I like Andy Reid? Andy Reid, I think for a long time, was the only person in the NFL to have a black offensive coordinator, black defensive coordinator. He didn't care. He got the guy that was the best man for the job, and they both happen to be black. And he keeps them in those positions. If you're asking me what, Carrie P, what is the solution to this? I don't think there is a solution at the moment. I don't think there's a good solution. All these solutions have pros and cons to them. And they're all going to be perceived differently from different groups of people. I was getting clarification because I wasn't 100% sure. I just always felt affirmative action was taking hires, which I guess is better than nothing. George says, true, Stephen, but I am personally am for hiring the best qualified candidates regardless of race or color. Just give the best candidate their shot. All for that. Our minority billionaire needs to start our own football league. No, Sean, that's not what they need to do. When Flo was riding in the limo, I couldn't ride with him. Now he at the bus stop and he calling me for a ride. Nelson. All right, come on. Y'all are funny. What I will say is, Carrie says, perception is irrelevant. Effect is the purpose of the policy. But if I perceive it differently than you, it doesn't make it right or wrong. Here's the other thing, right? We live in such a politically correct society and controlled climate and this cancel culture. And I'm not going to get political with y'all. But in this conversation, you kind of have to talk about this, right? Here's the problem with a lot of the fan base going after Flo. He's not wrong in anything he says. So how are you going after a man who's not wrong to begin with? He's not wrong. All of his claims are now, I'm not saying they're accurate. I'm just saying they're all politically correct in from his point of view. They're all the right things. He's doing the right thing. Hey, I felt that I was, taken advantage of. Here's what it is. Here's the legal process. I'm now going through said legal process, which is set up in our society to do it. He's not wrong. He has every right to do this. He's going about it the right way in our society. The way that it's set up. So please tell me what he's doing wrong. Is he going about it the way that I would have wanted him to? No, I think I would have maybe went a different route, maybe. But that's me. That's me. Everybody deserves a shot. Yes. I'm reading some of your comments. That's why I'm being quiet in some of this, because I'm going through some of your comments. But I'm telling you, y'all are going to be wrong about Flo when it's all said and done. You're going to be on the outskirts of that. And it's not going to be a good look. Not going to be a good look. Why can't that be done, Stephen? Sean, what's your question? Why can't what be done? Kevin Clements, shout out to you. What's up, man? Kevin, I thought you were a member of the channel. What's up, man? I missed you. KC. Flores has every right to do what he is doing, but for his career, it's going to make him a martyr. 100%. And he knew the consequences of that, Kevin, the moment he did it. The NFL owns, remember, I said this the other day. They own their own day of the week. He knew what he was going up against. Carrie P says, we are flawed, but that is the point. You can't color code the acceptance of which flawed person gets the job. Yet that has been the history of this country and institutions. Again, I'm not going to go into politics, but EM, stop trolling me. You can't color code the acceptance of which flawed person gets the job. I need to think about that more, Kerry. Why are we wrong? Why are we going to be wrong about Flores? Why are you going to be wrong about Flores? Because Flores is going to come out on the right side of history on this. He's going to come out on the right side of history on this because he is right that the NFL and its hiring practices need to change. They need to change. And he is correct in what he's saying. The Rooney Rule does not work. And let me ask you something. Here's a funny part. Would the Rooney Rule even be thought about being changed right now if Flores didn't come out with this lawsuit? It wouldn't be. The wheel would still be going because the status quo hadn't changed. So he did the right thing by coming out with it. We're mad as Dolphin fans because in this lawsuit, he said he might have been a little petty. And I say, and I'm even skeptical to say that. But I can see how that narrative is perceived. It might be perceived that he's being petty by like, look, if I'm not going to coach in the NFL anymore, I'm going to tell it all, which he has every right to do. And by the way, I want to know how bad my owner has screwed up. I want it to be transparent. Tell me how bad my owner is. I want to know. You don't need to tell me how bad he is for me to know. I know he's not a good owner. And he's not a good owner because he's not a good person. He's a great person. Does a lot of stuff. He does amazing stuff for the community. He has been a huge advocate for hiring minorities and making sure minorities and people of color have a place to work within the Miami Dolphins organization. They have been one of the most, they have been out front of this from the beginning. But if you're asking me from a pure football standpoint, bad. Straight bad. Horrible owner. Every decision you've made has been the wrong one, sir. Pete takes shake money. I'm glad you reminded me, fellas. So Studville being the only one that survived from the triple OC gig. Can we all confirm he called the plays? Maybe. No, I think so. I don't know, Pete. I have no idea about that. I think the lawsuit doesn't really target the Dolphins for racism, but unethical behavior. And I do believe that Ross did that. That's my point, Kevin. And that's why AB, you're and not just AB. I don't want to call you out, bro. I'm just saying in general. The outlook, the moment I played that clip, y'all didn't see the chat. It was Flores is a snitch. Flores is horrible. I can't believe him. Such a horrible person. Blah, 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 blah. That was all in the chat box the moment I played that clip. But he's not wrong. He's not wrong about the NFL practices. And I personally believe that Ross did what he did. Whether he has proof or not, whether he can prove it or not, I don't see the point of Flores lying here. Why would he lie about something like this? Let's just get that straight. And I know some of you because he's petty, because he's just trying to get back at the team that fired him. No, bro. What he's doing right now is bigger than that. And he knows that he'll never coach in the NFL again. Crystal Laka says there'll be no way to fix the NFL without deprivatizing them. Maybe. DC Kai 305. Steven, you really think the Dolphins was the only team that has or tried to tank? No way. Again, part of the reason that people are calling him a snitch, which is wrong. Go look up the definition of snitch. But part of the reason is that he broke the guy code, that unwritten rule. You talked about something behind that is part of the game that we don't talk about. And now you broke rank, you went AWOL, and you've done this horrible, stupid thing. That's why. No, I don't think he's the first head coach. I don't think Ross is the first owner. How did Ross know how to do that? Because he probably talked to another owner. You think Ross did that on his own fruition? No way. No way. He's probably having some sort of cocktail one night, smoking a cigar, saying, "Yeah, hey Steven, have you ever thought about paying your head coach for losses? It might be a good thing. You never know." Back when I owned, early in my career when I owned X Club, I paid my head coaches for losses, and it worked out great. We won a Super Bowl within 10 years, within 5 years. I don't believe in any way, shape, or form that Stephen Ross did this on his own volition. I think he 100% was told, got this from another owner and how to go about it. Well, how would you go? How would you go about doing that? How would you go about doing something like that? Well, what I would do is I would bring the coach in and I'd say, "Hey, look, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to offer you $100,000 per loss, and yeah, $100,000. That's the right number." Well, back when I did it, it was more like 50,000, but I think you could get away with it now with 100,000. I think a coach would do that. It's an extra $1 million in his pocket. Why wouldn't he do that? Ross, yes, in every way, shape, or form, and to DC, to your thing, no, he's not the first person to do it. Level 2 noob, can we just get back to putting the blame to where it belongs to? You guys are funny. No, call him out. F Spread Kindness Friday. It is Spread Kindness Friday. The problem is that old thinking's still running the show. When that changes and thinking finally gets the times, fair opportunities will present themselves. Minority billionaires building another league that gives the minority the opportunities to coach and get financial stability. No, having more minority owners within the NFL helps that. You think like there's a reason that no other league has ever competed with the NFL. Think about that for a minute. That ain't going to change. I don't think anyone with a brain believes he's lying about the tank money. Yeah, I don't. That's the other thing. Even people that are saying that Flo's a snitch, they're not saying he's wrong. They're just saying he snitched. He's not wrong. I'm going through your comments. Steven, let's be honest here. The owners might just tweak the rules a little to say, look, we did something, but they will always find a way around it. Jose, I 100% agree with you, bro. I don't think any major change is going to come out of this. I think we get rid of the Rooney Rule, but they'll call it something different. Their practices are going to change. They're going to get tweaked and put a new name on it. They're going to rebrand the Rooney Rule. That's the other thing. It's going to be called something different. It's not going to be called the Rooney Rule anymore. It's going to be called the Flores Rule. I don't know what it'll be called, but it'll be packaged as something different. Stephen Ross is an idiot in how he went about it. That's the difference. He underestimated Flo and his integrity. He underestimated that Flo would say something. I don't want to question a man's integrity, but I will say that Flo didn't do this till after it suited him to do it. Till it was in his favor to do it. And by in his favor, he made a decision of, okay, I'm no longer a head coach of the NFL. I'm getting screwed over for these jobs. I need to stand up and say something. If he had gotten another head coaching job, again, this would not have been the outcome. I never called him a liar. It's probably true, man. Just hate how and when he came forward. That just smells. But George, it did not matter how he did it. He was going to be wrong anyway. He was going to be wrong anyway. I want you to think about this, George. He's an NFL head coach, one of only 32 jobs. It's your dream job. It's what you've worked your entire career for. You're an active head coach in the NFL. Your owner bribes you $100,000 per loss. All right, what am I going to do? Am I going to leak this in the media to somebody? Am I going to come out in a press conference and announce it at the top of my lungs? There was no way that Flores was going to come out looking good for that. He wasn't going to jeopardize his dream job, which is being a head coach of an NFL football team. But the moment he wasn't one, he sang like a canary, and he's not wrong. Oh. This dude built a real estate empire and he's not smart enough to pay for a loss. What? I know, right? I'm reading your comments here. I'm just going through them. A lot of back and forth I see with y'all. I would love to see Brian Flores get an HBCU job. I think he'd be great there. The Flores rule is already taken. It describes a coach that only worries about defense and does nothing on offense. I'm reading y'all's comments. Y'all are going a little crazy in here. The NFL. All right, I'm going to put this on here. Lance, I love you. Okay. And I know that this is going to cause major controversy, but I thought I just did some thinking. Well, according to Nap Sucks, the NFL in sports is like a slave trade. So that if that's then, we're all supporting it. Maybe we should stop watching sports. So there is there is two things. I'm going to say something that I'm sure is going to piss off a lot of you, but we're having the conversation and it needs to be had. And I'm going to tell you something. Okay. Colin Kaepernick and what he was fighting for was not wrong and was 100% justified. He went about it the right. He did something that caused a controversy, and it got people talking about something other than what the intended talk was supposed to be about. The other problem with Kaepernick is where it came from. It came from him. I understand what he was fighting for, but you also, there's certain things certain people cannot say. And there's two things that I point with Kaepernick as to why he shouldn't have been the person to be the head of that movement. Okay? And this is just my theory. And I know I'm going to piss off people with this. Okay? Number one, the pig socks. You have to be the bigger man. You got to be the bigger man. And number two, the Fidel Castro t-shirt. Okay? So he never should have been the person to do that. But he is right. It is like, and you know, to Lance McDonald's, to your point, bro, the sports is like a slave trade. You have to if you go back, I'm not saying every owner is Donald Sterling, but you heard those tapes from Donald Sterling. You heard the reports of Donald Sterling taking black athletes while they were in the locker room in their jockstrap and saying, "Oh man, this is a bullfighter," right? Like, come on, dude. Like you have to understand there is that mentality. I'm not saying every owner is like that. I'm not saying all sports is like that. But you have to understand that he is not wrong. Again, he's not wrong. He's correct in what he's fighting for and what he's doing. There needs to be changes. There is a slave-owned and minded mentality within professional sports. You guys want to listen to a really good documentary? There's an audio documentary, 30 for 30 podcast, about the Donald Sterling tapes. And it goes into major detail about all the stuff of Donald Sterling. And there's big conversation. There's also conversations that have had of people that made that it was like, hey, look, Sterling isn't the only owner to have these thoughts and he wasn't the first person. You know why you don't hear from a lot of owners? Because they don't want to be in the public light and the public scrutiny. You hear about Jerry Jones and Al Davis and Mark Davis. You got your Daniel Snyder who thinks he's bigger than the law, but they're not wrong. And I don't mean them. I mean just the mentality of what Kaepernick was trying to say, what Flores is trying to say in his lawsuit. I hesitate to drop the link with you guys because I know how this gets. And I've never seen I have not personally seen a positive conversation come from this from either side. Lance McDonald says, I disagree, but I still love you all, so then I'm done with sports, but I'm not supporting anything that does that, but I still watch you. Lance, I love you. I love you. What I will say to that is I think what needs to be talked about is this. All right. Forget Kaepernick, forget Brian Flores, forget everything. What needs to be talked about is when we're on channels like this one, is that we're having a positive talk on both sides. I want to hear from the other side. But the moment people start talking about it, they get their feelings involved in it. And that does not bode well for the conversation. You have to take your emotional self out of the conversation and say, look, I need to be an adult. I need to listen to the other side. I might not agree with them, but I need to understand them. Because how are we ever going to be able to talk? So you know what? I'll drop the link. And I might do one-on-ones with y'all. Or maybe add a third person in there. Swear jar's in full effect. Let's just get that straight. And we're not going to slander or talk crap about anybody. That's not what we're going to do here on this channel. But I think it's a positive conversation that we need to have. And AB, I invite you to come on, bro. Okay, here we go. I'm dropping the link. This will get very interesting here. And just so you all know, I only have like an hour left. Okay. Jose Valdez, there was a lot of outcry. There was a lot of outcry for that. Hey, Pete, why don't you cash at me? All right, here we go. Bring on the first person. What's up, Todd?
What's going on?
How are you, man?
I'm doing all right. Just getting working, so I won't be able to be on as long.
That's our. I mean, I'm going to do some one-on-ones here for a third person. So, but let's talk a little bit. Do you have what do you want to say, man? What's up?
I think both sides. I think Flores has the right intentions with the lawsuit. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame him for snitching because if Ross did it, Ross needs to be called out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, but I don't think Flores is the right person. And
why is that?
Because first off, Kaepernick did it when it didn't affect him. I'll give Cap that. It didn't affect him.
Like he knew.
But Flores
he
waited to be fired for it to affect him, number one.
I
and
get
that's
what you're
when
saying.
He took the stand.
I get what you're
Also,
saying.
when Lovie Smith, who's more qualified, he's actually been to a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Flores hasn't even won a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't been to a playoff game. And you're going to call out the Texans and redo the lawsuit to add them as the front runner. Also, you're fighting for a cause, and Lovie Smith, if I recall, is a minority who got a job for the cause that you're fighting for. You can't call that out.
So let me throw this out there. When it comes, shout out to Pete with the $50 donation. My guy, what's up, Pete? What I'll say to you, Todd, is this: is with the Houston situation, Lovie Smith, from what I know and what was told through the media, is that Lovie Smith was not a candidate at the end until the Flores situation came out. And Josh McCown, it was down to Flores and Josh McCown, from what I know. And so when the lawsuit came out, they realized we need to get another minority in here. Now, I'll say this: Lovie Smith is more than qualified. He's overqualified for the position, and he deserves another shot to be head coach somewhere.
I want to see if he's not another one and done there, though. Kind of like what they did to Cully.
Yeah.
But Lovie was on that staff and helped that staff overachieve too.
But so what he is saying, what Flores is saying in that situation is, again, now I'm getting blackballed. He's not saying that they passed me up for a while.
Right.
Look, he is, and it needs to go into the lawsuit because it helps his thing. It helps his back.
But for what he's fighting for, and I like what Kenny Stills said to him: don't wait until it affects you to stand up for change. That was his last quote.
If that's your argument, I have no problem if that's your argument.
But like I said, I think both sides are wrong. And for him to come out yesterday, we all know the beef between him and Tua. It's been well documented. That doesn't show his honesty level too much.
Well, Todd, let me interrupt you a little bit and say that was he had Omar Kelly sitting there, and Omar Kelly is one of the ones that was actively bringing these things out.
I want to see the whole interview.
I want to see the whole. I'm going to reserve judgment until I watch that whole interview. How about that?
But we've heard it from Tua's family coming out. For him to say it's positive. His dad's been more than outspoken about it.
Where I like, if you guys can show me, if you guys can show me those reports, I would be more than happy to see them. I've never personally seen them.
But it's just, we know he didn't back Tua at all. But for him to say that, I don't know. I just think it makes him look a little bit worse than this. He should have kept his mouth shut on that. Or
I'll if your argument is that he's lying and that he wasn't a Tua person and he's actively lying in the interview, I would say show me proof. And the proof that I hear is the horse's mouth. And until the other party tells me different, I'm gonna take that for what it is.
I'll go back on some tweets and see if I can screenshot.
That's fine. I want you to do that for me, Todd. I want to see.
But honestly, I don't think Flores is the right person for it.
And just to clarify one more time, you're saying that why?
I don't because of the fact, like I said, I understand what you're saying about him being blackballed, but you still got to support the cause that you're fighting for. And Lovey getting the job is supporting the cause you're fighting for. And he was qualified. It's not like you with the high school coach they brought up just to throw in because he's African American for the job just to look better. He was more than qualified. And he's also the first African American to get 3 different jobs in the NFL as a head coach.
I hear you. I disagree.
And
with
yes, the thing is broken. The Rooney Rule is outdated and broken. Don't get me wrong. Things need to change. But at the same time, it needs to change higher up than just the head coach.
You are 100, bro. You hit the nail on the head with that. You hit the nail on the head. Todd, thank you for saying your thing and having a respectable conversation, because that's how we move forward and have good conversations about this, man. So thanks for coming on. I might have a bigger panel later on, but if you want to stay in the back room, go ahead. I'm going to bring some other people on, all right?
All right, man.
All right, be easy, Todd. All right, let me bring on Green Rat. What's up, Green Rat?
How's it going, Steven? Spread kindness. Deshaun Watson has not been indicted today, so there's some good kindness out there. Did you happen to watch the interview with the lady reporter from NBC?
I don't know what you're referring to, so I'll say no.
I think Tafoya is her last name. She was doing the interviews after the Super Bowl and stuff. After 30 years, she quit. And
Michelle Tafoya, right?
Yes, that would be it. She decided to quit NBC Sports because she didn't like the direction of what the NFL was going, and she did an interview with Tucker Carlson, which isn't going to make a lot of people happy, but they showed an interview with her and Whoopi Goldberg a while back, and it's very interesting. I'd recommend to go look at it because it kind of points out some of this stuff. But it's just unfortunate. I do believe that Flores is a rat, a canary.
And so if you say that, I want you to tell me why. Why is Flores a rat? Why is he a canary?
Well, everyone keeps saying how great his integrity is.
Okay.
He did play or coach for the Pats. I mean, he was he was the guy in charge of what was it? The videotaping and stuff. That was his position back when it was Spygate. They went through Deflategate, and he never told on what the Pats were doing, and then I think he would have stayed quiet if the Giants wouldn't have really screwed everything up. So
all right, so
to me that leans him to low integrity, and then tells on everybody, sings like a canary.
All right, so I'm trying to get a clarification from you.
Yep.
You're saying that he's a rat because he snitched on the Dolphins, but didn't snitch on everything else that the Patriots were doing.
Well, it's because everyone says he has such high integrity for what he's doing and everything. But if he had such a high integrity, I mean, the stuff that the Pats were cheating. I mean, it's been proven that they were cheating. Okay. He never stepped up and said anything about that.
Okay, so okay, that I disagree with you, and I don't know the reports you're referring to that said he was part of Spygate or anything. I've never seen that. I'm not saying they're not out there. I just have never seen that. What I want to tell you from my point of view is the man. If you want to say, hey, look, he didn't say it till after he was fired, and you have a problem with that's fine. But to say, all right, he's a rat or he's not lying about anything.
Like I never said he was.
Okay. And to question a man's integrity is tough because he's the one that's actually stepping up and putting his neck out there to say it. He's not going to coach in the NFL again. There's a 99.9% chance is that does not happen. I'm not saying it's 100%, but it's a 99.9. I'm putting you on mute for a second, Green Rat, just so I don't hear the background noise. And then the other thing that is interesting too, from that standpoint too, is, you know, you want to bring up the New England stuff. I haven't heard that part from anybody else yet, but I can see, hey, look, he didn't snitch, you know, we're there. But I feel like that's us being a fan and saying, you know, as much as we hate the Patriots and all of that, but I don't know any report that has him linked to Spygate in any way, shape, or form.
Well, he was the coach, or his job.
He was a coach.
Right. What he was in charge was the videotaping and all that stuff during that time period. That was his job description.
But we're talking about something that's 10 plus years ago.
Right. I'm just saying, well, everything, when you try to describe somebody, you have to go back a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was there for Deflategate. You know what happened there.
But we're okay. I hear you about the Patriots stuff, Green Rat.
Right.
But why is he a rat? Like, I don't understand that he's a rat.
Let me tell you that I did like Flores as our coach. So me saying this is more of exactly kind of what you've said is, you know, when you don't say anything for a while and you're disgruntled because the Giants absolutely dropped the ball and screwed up something that's an absolute idiotic rule.
And by the way, the Giants he's correct. They did a sham interview on him.
Yeah,
like, that
absolutely.
Happened.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen.
Yep.
But, you know, it also goes back just like back in, I know this is kind of off topic, but in some colleges, Asian students have to have higher scores than white kids to get into colleges. And I mean, it's crazy, and stuff like that shouldn't happen.
Look, the whole system, when it's all said, has corruption in it, needs to be changed, and to a certain extent, we need to see that. But what I will say to you, Green Rat, is when you say a man is a rat, you're talking about a man's self-respect and integrity. And what I will say about Flores is I will question. I will raise my hand of, hey, you're doing this now that you don't have a job, but that's and I can only kind of raise my hand in that, right? Like, and that's as a fan. That's it. That's the only thing I can do, because he's right on everything he's talking about. He's not saying anything that's wrong. He's not tearing down. He's trying to tear down a system that's wrong. And so everything, I think, helps with that. That's what I'll say to that, Green Rat.
I can't go there because the true reason he's doing is after he didn't get a job, now he's whining about it. So I can't. I understand what you're saying, and I hear you, but I just can't go there with what he's done. You know, the timing of how he did everything.
But when was he supposed to do it?
Well, if his integrity was so bad,
when he's 80 and writes a tell-all book, and then it's like, well, you're just doing it to sell a book. There's never a good time to do it.
Well, Jose
Canseco supposed to do
that.
What? And Jose Canseco is I don't know anything about Jose as a person personally.
Me neither.
But what I will say is he chose to write a book, and if you want to label somebody a snitch, that man's probably a good way.
I'd put him on the list.
But I would never.
What's a good word for you then? Besides snitch
for Flores?
Yeah,
I wouldn't use snitch and rat. No, I don't. I think that Flores is a really good head coach.
I agree.
Who has allegations towards an organization and multiple organizations in a system which we know to be flawed already. And so, if he can show proof of all of these things, which I believe that he can, because I don't think you would have, even if it's circumstantial, right?
Right.
I think that you can. I think you have that. I think that I think he's a man. Like, I have to just say he is a man and a former head coach. Like, that's what I'll put it at. I'm not going to call him a name or anything like this. It's just not something I'm going to do. I'm not going to disrespect him like that. That's just me. But it pains me to hear people call him a snitch and a rat, because now you're talking about a man's integrity. And I think at the end of the day, you might not like what he's done. You might not like the timing of what he's done, but that doesn't make him a snitch. That doesn't make him a canary. That doesn't make him a rat. That just means, hey, bro, like he's putting it all out there. That's just me. So, look, Green Rat, I appreciate you coming on. I want to get to some other people in the back room, man. So thank you for coming on, dude.
Yep.
All right, let me go to the next. Batman2423. What's up, Batman?
What's going on, Steven? Give me 20 seconds. I'm pulling over so I can. It's going to be short and sweet. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right, give me 1 second. Let me pull over. Basically, I kind of agree a little bit with everybody was saying as far as Todd. Who was it that came up first? It was Todd, right?
Todd, and then Green Rat.
And Green Rat. So I agree some points as far as what they're saying, as far as calling him a rat and all that. I don't agree with that either. I'm going to ask you a question, Steven, because this is how I feel about it. And this is how basically everybody in this fan base should consider it. If you could take your Dolphins hat off for the conversation, it makes everything a lot easier to understand. Because if he would have done this to another team, the majority of people would not be calling him a rat, because he is standing up for something that needs to be spoken about. And at the end of the day, we all know that the system is flawed, right? And I agree in so many ways what he's standing for and what he wants to do with it and what he's pursuing. I also understand what Todd's saying. You're doing this when you everything is standing against you. So in that sense, I understand that, but I don't want to go and accuse the man of name calling and stuff like that, because he's standing up for something he believes.
Let me interrupt 1 second and say that I like what Kenny Stills to a certain point said. Kenny Stills, and I'm paraphrasing. I'm not exact words from him, but basically saying, hey, look, you chose to say this when you knew when the cards were stacked against you and you felt the need to do it. But it's what you do when the cards aren't stacked. Like Colin, like we say what we want about Colin, right? Colin knew when he took that knee that it was going to be like his career could potentially be finished. Like, he knew that. He says that he knew that. And so, right, good, bad, right, wrong, or indifferent, he chose to take a stand when he was still there, right? And so there's something to be said of that. Now, Kaepernick is a very controversial figure, and it has a lot of different points than this particular scenario, because in this particular scenario, there's compartmentalized parts to this, right? There's the racism part. There's the Rooney Rule, which is part of it. There's systemic racism aside from just regular racism, and there are different things, by the way. And then there's also the part two, the pay for play, the pay for losses. There's so many different bubbles inside of this lawsuit that you have to realize. There's the blackballing, the Houston Texans part, all of that. So I think Flo's doing the right thing. I don't think there was ever going to be a good time to do it.
Right.
Whether he did it when he was an active coach, whether he does it 50 years from now in a tell-all book, it didn't matter. There was never a right time. The fact of the matter is that he's doing it, and that it will change things within the game. Hopefully.
Yes.
Hopefully it's a start. Because it needs to.
It needs to. Let me ask you this. But I mean, does everybody agree as far as if we're able to take our Dolphins hat and just, in a sense, I mean, look, as far as what he did with the Lovie Smith, after Lovie Smith got hired, it's like Todd said, you're contradicting where you're standing up for. And now you're thinking about yourself now. And that I don't agree with, because at the end of the day, you got to be proud of Lovie Smith. And like you said, he is more accomplished at the end of the day.
So two things. Do you think Lovie got the job because that's who the Texans wanted?
I think Lovie, look, Flores has been
nobody's gonna argue that Lovie's not qualified. You're never.
What I want to say, Coach Flores is a good coach. The problem we're using is a head coach. Right now, he hasn't learned to be a head coach because he doesn't know how to deviate and have others upon roughly around his level.
I 100% agree. But
he's one of the best defensive coaches in the league. I mean,
ever.
Nobody
ever. He's really good at that. Now, what I will also tell you is this, Batman. It was down between him and Josh McCown. Lovie didn't come into the fold till after the lawsuit was dropped.
But we don't know that. We don't know concrete evidence on that.
But that's true. That is true. I will give you that. But we never heard Lovie Smith's name until the lawsuit dropped.
I agree with that. Yeah, you're right.
So there's something to be said of that. Whether you believe it or not, there's something to be said. And what I believe personally was Flores was the person they wanted. Josh McCown was right behind him. And then whoever. Let's say Lovie. And Lovie got and Lovie overtook McCown because, in my opinion, this is my opinion now, they said we need to hire an African-American coach so that it doesn't come back on us that like we're being racist or anything like that. They have an out.
Yeah.
Lovie's more than qualified for the job. And he deserves to be a head coach in the NFL. I love Lovie Smith.
Yeah, and look, and like again,
I would have loved Lovie to be our head coach. That's real. I'll be real with you. I would have loved Lovie to be. He's a former head coach, and that's what I wanted. But that's not the direction the team wanted to go in, and that's fine.
Right. And like again, I'm saying I support Flores 1,000%. And what people need to realize out there in this community, you need to take your Dolphins homer hat, because at the end of the day, I understand how you feel, because you want to call him a rat because he snitched on the team or whatever you want to say. It's all BS. The man's standing up for something he believes, and there's a lot of intangibles to it. And as far as the other side of the chip, look, as far as the clip, I like you said, I want to see the entire.
I want to see. I'm going to reserve judgment until after I see the entire interview.
I will say this. I mean, it just the whole like you said, Omar Kelly he's been there, he's reported it, and we're not idiots. We've known the reports about his relationship with Tua, and just to say this, at the end of the day, I don't think Tua or Tua's team. When I say team, I'm very specific. I'm separating family from his team that actually works his media, right? Because if it was up to Tua and his media team, I think they would keep things underground as far as the back and forth between him and Flores, because at the end of the day, Tua doesn't seem like he's that type of player. You could hate him for the play he has on the field, but the kid is consistent, and he's trying to he stays away from off-field stuff like that. Now, if you want me to say something without saying too much, if his father has something to say about Flores, because that is something that has not come out, and I don't want to give too much out to the people out there, but if his father spoke out, it would get very ugly. And his father is involved in all this, but I can't say too much.
So you're talking about Tua?
Yes, sir.
Look, until I hear from the horse's mouth, I've said on my channel.
That's our problem.
That's fine, and that's fine. And so you know what? So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not qualified enough. I can only reserve judgment. I can only reserve perspective. I don't even like judgment. I can only reserve my perspective based on the facts that I have, as well as my gut feeling. Right? And so that's where, like, all I saw was 4 offensive coordinators in 3 years. All I saw was veteran players coming and going. I saw the interviews that Kyle Van Noy did with Pat McAfee where he was talking about Flores, and like I saw it. And so based on those interviews, based on the things that I saw, they weren't reports by a third-party outlet. They weren't, hey, I went to the horse's mouth and then made the judgment based on what I heard.
That's true. I mean, and again,
that's
that's
all I can do. And until that changes, that's basically what it's going to be, right? So, look, man, I'll say this. That's where I come from on it. Batman, I want to get to some other people in the back room, man. I appreciate you coming on this morning.
Real quick, can I just say something as far as what the NFL should do to try to fix this? Because at the end of the day,
I would like to hear that. Go ahead.
Something I want to propose. I said instead of incenting teams that hire minority coaches, I have an idea. Why not make every team at least hire 2 to 3 minority coaches at the very least? And then if they succeed and they can promote, at that point you can incentivize if they get promoted to a head coaching job somewhere else. But it's not that you're forcing a team to do it, but at the end of the day, the league primarily it's African American, and these guys they've done the sport. They're athletes. They're amazing. And you're going to sit and tell me that they don't have an opportunity to coach the game that they're good at? Like, it makes no sense.
So 2 things to that. Number one, if you do something like that, then you're going to hear another side, good, bad, or indifferent, right or wrong. Hey, look, there are other guys that are just as qualified that maybe the coaches want that he can't bring in because he's forced to hire a minority head coach, right? And so that narrative does, in my opinion, that doesn't work because then you're going to get the other side. Good, bad, or indifferent. You know that's what's going to happen. So, and then you're just checking a box. So I don't believe that that's the answer, but maybe it is, but I don't believe that it is. But I hear you. I think that's a perspective that is one way to maybe do it. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I would like to hear more. I think, again, more would have to be talked about more in that conversation. So that'll be interesting. Batman, thanks for coming on, bro.
Thank you.
All right, man. Hey, look, Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show. Clap blockers right here. Guys, hit that like button on the way in. We're having a great conversation right now. We're talking about Brian Flores. We're talking about, systemic racism. There's a lot of things that we're talking about. We're talking about Flo being, supposedly from a fan base calling him, a snitch and a rat, which I don't believe that he is. We got a lot to talk about. One of the things that keeps on coming up is the Rooney Rule. I played this last week, and I want to play it again for you because I think it's very interesting, and I think that we should hear it. It's about 2.5 minutes long, and then I'm going to bring in Pete. So, Pete, you're next up. But I want to play this first. Pete, Jerry, and then Estefan. I have you guys in that order as you guys came in. I'm not putting anybody ahead of anybody. That's who I have in the back room. So you guys are going to come on. Don't worry about it. But let me play this little 2.5 minute clip real quick.
You've probably heard of the NFL's Rooney Rule, but is it really working in 2021? The NFL policy was named after the league's former diversity committee chairperson, the late Dan Rooney. It was instituted in 2003, then expanded in 2009, requiring teams with vacancies for head coaches, general managers, and similar front office roles to interview at least one diverse candidate for those jobs. In 2003, there had only been 6 black head coaches in the modern era. The rule appeared to show promise in 2006 and 2007, with 6 black head coaches in permanent positions. In 2020, the rule was updated, requiring teams to interview at least 2 external minority candidates for head coaching openings and at least 1 minority candidate for any coordinator job, as well as 1 external minority candidate for senior football operations and general manager jobs. The truth is, only 4 head coaches of color and 4 general managers of color hold positions in the NFL, and 2 of the 32 NFL teams have owners who are not white. The numbers are glaring, and the interviewing process has shown to be more of a chore than honest due diligence. This year's Super Bowl featured a handful of potential future head coaches of color. Chiefs offensive expert Eric Bieniemy has been discussed as a potential head coach for the last few seasons. And while Tom Brady and Bruce Arians have received much of the credit for the Buccaneers' success this season, All of the team's major coordinators are black men. Offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich, assistant head coach Harold Goodwin, defensive coordinator Todd Bowles, and special teams coordinator Keith Armstrong. The enemy has been passed over by multiple teams. Bowles, who took interviews with the Eagles and Falcons, had a scheduled interview with the Detroit Lions before they canceled and hired Dan Campbell, while Leftwich didn't even receive an interview. There is no clear accountability from the league regarding the Rooney Rule. The rule hasn't panned out, which doesn't mean it's a failure. It was just a starting point. The NFL can create all the incentives to jumpstart high-level hiring of people of color and women, but in the end, the future of the rule and its evolution is directly tied to the owners. In modern NFL history, only 23 head coaches of color have been hired in the NFL, and the responsibility to fix that lies at the owner's feet.
That is something that, I played before on the show. I played that before on the show. That's from Bleacher Report. That's from that's from February of 2021. So February of last year. That's a year old. Okay, and I think there's something to be said of that. And it's interesting when you hear that only 23 and maybe that's changed 26 now, 20, 24 or 25 now. In the entire history of the NFL, have there been black head coaches? 25. In a league that is majority African American. Something to be said of that. That means there are coaches. There are teams within the NFL that have never had a minority head coach, ever. Something to be said of that. The process does need to change. What Brian Flores is doing is not wrong. There needs to be some sort of thing to jumpstart this. And y'all have to understand that. All right, let me bring in Pete, which I know who doesn't agree with some of the perspective here, but I'm going to bring in Pete. What's up, Pete?
What's up, Steven? Thank you for having me up. I appreciate you. Everybody hit that like button. I know it's Spread Kindness Friday.
Yep.
But, man, one thing I won't allow is people not calling Flores a rat.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I would not allow. And hear me out, Steven. I've said it before, and I've said it to you before. Me and you are boys. Me and you talk good about each other for a long time.
Yep.
I don't even want to lose you. So before I lose you, I put you in the highest position possible before head coach because teams wanted you.
Yep.
I love you, Steven. But unfortunately, the Miami Dolphins came calling and gave Flores the head coach. But people never forget, Bill Belichick and Brian Flores were really good together. They were tight. And who did Brian Flores snitch out on, bro? None of this would have come into light if Flores doesn't put the Bill Belichick text out in the media.
If Bill Belichick doesn't text them.
Well, Bill Belichick as a boy, nobody knows behind. We could all speculate, right? But maybe Bill Belichick heard something through the great pipe and he said, damn, Flores might get this job, And he said, congratulations. And it didn't happen. But at the end of the day, you don't do that, bro. You call Brian and be like, you call Bill and be like, yo, what's up with this? Or you meet up. Brian Flores is such a rat, Steven. He's probably more than
Flores
likely.
Is a rat?
Brian Flores is a rat, bro.
Come on. Right,
he snitched on Bill Belichick.
Break it. How
That's
did he
his
snitch
boy.
on Belichick?
Because you don't do that to your friend, Steven. Bill Belichick does not get put in these lights and in these media reports and none of this if it wasn't for Flores. Flores did this to Bill Belichick. I don't like Bill Belichick. I hate that guy. But just like Batman said, take off your Homer hat.
Okay.
If that happens to you, you made a little small mistake. And you text your boy Flores and he turns around and puts you in the news and says, look what Bill Belichick did to me. He said I was supposed to be coach of the Giants. Blah, blah, blah. Like a little crybaby. There's a bunch of Flores apologists. Now, the next thing is that I do want to speak about is that's why I'm calling Flores a rat. Now, the first thing I want to clear, Stephen, is here in Miami, Flores and racism is not here. Okay, that has
Where?
no issue whatsoever. When we're talking racism with Flores and the
Yeah.
Rooney Rule, and there's no ties to that here.
Yeah,
I
I
understand
don't
what he's
believe.
going through
Yeah, I don't.
around the league.
Yeah, I think again. So just to reiterate, and Claire, I'm going to get to what you're talked about and your point of view, but to just clarify that, no, the Dolphins are not involved with that, and nor have they been. Miami's been very good about doing that, and so I think Flores, look, black GM, black head coach, say what you want about McDaniel, whatever the case is, but I think that that's never been, even Kenny Stills, from what I know of, said that, Ross has been, very good about, being a leader within, the community and trying to develop, the racial relations and build that up. So look, I think that I don't think the Dolphins have been involved in that. I'll give you that much. Now, with your point of view, I will say this. I think that when you are going to go out, matter of fact, let me, Pete, I know I haven't brought in other people. Do you mind if I bring in somebody else to the conversation for you?
I don't mind, but let me finish up because I don't have that much time. So I'm just going to drop, and I want to talk about the Rooney Rule real quick.
I want you to stay on for this person just for a few minutes. Give me 5
But
more
let me
minutes.
talk real quick, and then I might just drop out because I don't really have that much time, Stephen. I appreciate you.
Okay.
Bring them on. Bring them on. Bring them on.
The
Rooney Rule.
with you. Go ahead.
Okay, this is what I wanted to talk about, the Rooney Rule.
What's up, Bonjo?
The Rooney Rule, in my opinion, Vonjo, what's up, buddy? The Rooney Rule, in my opinion, if it's the way, look, number one, you can't force me to hire anybody, right? You can't force me to hire anyone. I'm gonna hire who I want as a boss. That's just me, okay? If I like this person more than this person and this person and that person, I'm going to hire who I feel is going to run my business the best. That's number one. Let me clear that out the way. Number two, the Rooney Rule I do like, but to me, in my honest opinion, it's a waste of time in a way for a minority, but at the same time, it's only a waste of time if you don't get the head coaching job. But let me tell you why it's important and why I do like it. Because nobody here wants to go to an interview and not get the job. But one thing you are going to get is a big spotlight. You might not get the head coaching job to that interview, but I'm pretty sure once you're in the NFL media, you're going to have guys on YouTube talking about you, Twitter talking about it, whether good or bad, it doesn't matter. It's going to trend, and people are going to see that. Before, you didn't have that opportunity before the Rooney Rule. You couldn't spotlight who you wanted to hire. Now everybody has to get their name brought up on the spotlight, therefore giving these guys a better credential on their name where they can go on and succeed at college levels, where they didn't have that opportunity before. But that's just what it is on the Rooney Rule. To me, honestly, it's almost a waste of time, but it's also good and needed for that nature that I just said, in my opinion.
It starts it in the, so just like that video says, it's not the solution, but it's a step in the right direction, and it's a starting point. Bonjo, I know that you've been very active in the chat, and I brought you on because I know that you can be professional and courteous in a debate, and I know that you don't necessarily agree with Pete's point of view, so I want you to debate that point of view with Pete real quick.
Listen, Steven, I've been into chat, and literally today I didn't even work out because I'm actually running errands today, and literally I wish I worked out because I am boiling inside. So I had to take a deep breath before I came on here.
Okay, do that.
Because when I said I've had it up to here with people calling this man a rat,
okay,
or
that's why I brought you on,
or using him in a derogatory manner, because I truly don't understand how hard is it for you to understand what a rat is, what a snitch is, what a canary is, whatever you want to call him. The man is not in a life of crime. I see if he took the money. Now, if you want to call huge,
Vaughn, I got you.
Pete,
because I called him a snitch.
Pete,
I
let you talk.
Pete, let him go. Let him go, Pete.
So if you
I want you two to debate, but let him go.
If people want to call Hugh Jackson a rat, by all means, go ahead, because he took the money. Hugh Jackson said, "I took money," and now I'm saying I took money. So if you want to say Hugh Jackson's a rat, by all means, go ahead. Because that's snitching. Now,
because he was a part of the crime.
Exactly. Now, Pete's saying that he snitched on his boy Belichick. So on that notion, I want to know: is Belichick getting fired?
No.
Is Belichick in any trouble?
No.
Has he been blackballed?
No.
Has the Patriots been blackballed?
No.
Has the Patriots gotten in any trouble? Our Patriots are even in the lawsuit.
No, are they in risk of won't losing even draft? Hire Flores now.
But hold on, are they in the risk of losing draft capital?
No.
So how did he snitch on Belichick?
Allegedly.
Again, no.
He's asking. He's asking you how.
Exactly, because Belichick is not in any trouble.
Well, let me tell you something, Vaughn. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you how.
Vaughn
Joe,
answer the question.
Vaughn Joe, because maybe you were backstage and couldn't hear me, and maybe you know what? Let me clear it up. Maybe snitch isn't the word. Maybe you have a little valid point, but here in Miami, Vaughn Joe, he's considered green. I don't know what you mean.
Bro,
he's green, bro.
I grew up down south.
Look, listen. The boys in the hood don't want to deal with him no more. You don't do that.
But guess what?
You don't do that.
That's if he grew up in that hood. If he grew up in that neighborhood. Nah, man, don't tell me he green.
No, listen, you don't do that to your circle. You're not trusted anymore. How can I trust you?
See, again, he is.
How can I trust you, Vaughn? If you agree with that.
See, no. See, this is what y'all get. This is where y'all get it twisted. Y'all thinking Flores.
No, Flores is Bill Belichick's puppet. He's been his little buddy his entire career there, buddy. That's who he got in the league with. That's his friend. That's his boy. But you don't do that, bro.
Pete, but you're not seeing
let Bonjo go.
Pete, you're not seeing it though. You're just saying that, okay, that's Belichick's boy, right? That's his boy that they grew up together. They came in together. But at the same time, you're not seeing that Patriots are not in any trouble. So how you know that's not his man's and they set it up? Go ahead, if that's Pete. If that's my man's, all right, yo, this is the situation going on. Yo, you heard about this? Yo, this kind of green. Yo, release the text.
And Pete, Pete, I will say there's a perspective, Pete, that Belichick sent that text on purpose because he knew
this is Belichick we're talking about. A mastermind.
Listen,
and by the way, I said that from day one.
It doesn't matter if he did this on purpose, whatever's going on backstage. Flores was a Dolphin, and he did his boy dirty. Okay, ooh. Bill Belichick does not want this in the media. He went out of his own way and showed this.
Because they Pete. How do you know? Because Bill Belichick is
I don't want to, Pete. I don't want to gang up on. I don't want to gang up on you, but I want to ask
Bill
you,
Belichick
how do you
in any
know
trouble? I'll see if Bill Belichick was getting pressure, but the Patriots and Bill Belichick ain't in any pressure.
Okay, let me ask you, Steven. You cheat on your girl, and your boy texts you something like, "Hey, last night you cheated on your girl, Steven. That was a fun night." And your girl sees that text, you're gonna be happy at your boy?
If I'm trying to break up with my boy, if I'm trying to break up with my
girl, don't let it fit your narrative.
Don't
let it fit your narrative.
No, because that's the thing. Again, no.
You're trying to let it fit your narrative.
No, Pete, you got to put in the same narrative because at the same
time, your boy is your boy, bro. That's it. You don't do that, bro. Simple and plain.
Belichick is not in any trouble. So I could send that text if my boy's not gonna get in any trouble.
Vaughn 954 wants to ask you, Bonjo. I'm with Pete.
He ain't real.
We won't use snitch. He's just a tattletale. Can we agree?
No, if you want to call him a whistleblower,
and y'all gonna sit here,
by all means, call him a whistleblower. I'm okay with that because that's what he did with the Dolphins. He blew the whistle.
Look, I like I said already, when it comes to the Rooney Rule, I understand Flores is upset. He feels it was a waste of time and there's interviews. I respect that. That's all cool with me. But one thing I do talk about is he's a snitch, he's a rat, and he lies.
No, he's not.
And he lies. Haven't I said that? And he lies.
What did he lie about? What did he lie about?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What does he lie about? He lied about Tua's injury. He lied about Devontae Parker's injury.
No, we don't.
Come on, bro. He lied about Preston's injury. Everything is coming out.
So let me talk about a couple things.
Hold on, Bonjo. That's all hearsay. Those are all third-party reports.
How come, Steven, why do you mean? Hold on, Steven. How come when the reports are useful to you guys, y'all love to use them? But when the reports that that we want to use them, they become theories and they become all.
Pete, answer me this, Pete. Have I used it on my show? Yes or no? Have I used it on my show? Yes or no, Pete?
I mean, don't you go on Twitter and go through people's reports and stuff like that? So yes, you have plenty of times. You and every other YouTuber.
No, what I will tell you, I can't speak to anybody else. What I will say is on my channel, because I don't think I use clickbait. I don't like to talk about.
I'm not saying clickbait. What I'm saying is when Steven,
Pete,
you've gone up on. Hold on. This is what I'm talking about because maybe you don't understand. You've come up here and you've been on Twitter, right, showing it on your screen, talking about other Dolphin riders' reports, right, and you've used them for your points as well. So
I don't believe that I have. If you can refer back to one, by all means, I will recant that statement. But I don't believe that I have gone to any article and said, "Oh wow, here it is, right here. This is the Bible. This is."
You not like that.
I've not done that.
But you've used it and brought it, right?
I have said
and gave your opinion, whether you agreed with it or not. You gave your opinion, right?
Pete, you gonna let me talk? All right. What I'm saying is if I have ever used an article for any situation, it is merely to point out that the article has come out and to give my thoughts, a view on it. And 99.9% of the times I have said, I don't give this any merit because it has not come from the horse's mouth. I'm not calling the writer of the article a liar. I am just saying I have a tough time believe the word sources. I don't like when a writer uses the word sources. If you can come out and say, hey, Jerome Baker said X, Xavier Howard said X, Y, and Z, and I can go to Jerome Baker or I can go to Xavier Howard and corroborate that they said that, by all means, I have no problem talking about that. But in no way, shape, or form on my channel, Pete, have I ever said any news story or article that has the word sources confirmed. Screw that. I have been from day one that I hate that scenario. I don't like it.
I agree. You said that, but you've used them and then gave your opinion.
No, I've had people on my channel to do that. And by the way, and here's the other thing too. I think for reporters, there is also like sometimes they have to say sources. That's fine. They can't they're never going to get certain information from that. But because it's so mixed up in today's society, I can't say what's true and what's not true anymore.
And Steven, to say that, and I truly understand, for example, when Omar came out and sat there and said, there's players in the locker room that don't like Tua. And everybody came out talking some, I don't like that because, the player, if you're going to be a man enough to say that, y'all don't know how the NFL works all of a sudden?
And by the way, as far as Omar is concerned, I don't bring up Omar Kelly articles on my show for the most part. They have been brought up on my show, but I, again, don't rely on them as anything to it. And the last thing I'll say to it, because I got other people in the back room, guys. I also want to say that I do have a point of view on this, and I am trying to be neutral, but I also think that when Green Rat or Pete came up here and Todd so far who's come on, I have been by all means, hey, say I want to ask the question. I want you to say what you think. I don't have to agree with you.
And on that notion, can I rock out for a little bit after Pete's done?
Yeah.
Rock out, Vaughn.
Because I got Jerry. Jerry was supposed to be next, and then Estefan, and then I also got my man Donald as well.
All right, because all these people were calling him a rat and all this and all that.
Pete, are you good? Hold on, Bonjo. Are you good, Pete? Because I want to let Bonjo go.
I'm out.
I want to make sure you're good with everything.
That like button, spread kindness Friday. Everybody stay blessed. Have a great weekend.
Pete, thank you for your donation,
Pete,
man.
Be good,
Thank
man.
you, bro.
Take care.
Go ahead, Bonjo.
Yeah. So, and again, we could have disagreements, and it's all good. Because I always say a point of view is based on your reality, right?
Yeah.
So, and the calling him a rat again, I keep saying if the man
I have a problem with that too.
Yeah. If the man is not leaving a life of crime and is not part of a crime, you can't call him a rat because you'll only call him a whistleblower at that point. Right?
Yeah, whistleblower is fine. I like that term. That is That's
Because
that's not a derogatory
it just
term.
is what it is.
That is
That's
an
what it is.
accurate term. He blew the whistle, and he like I think a whistleblower is no problem. That's what
Exactly,
I will
because
use.
when you blow a whistle, you're getting attention. Hey, God, you guys might want to check this out. There's some wrongdoing. This ain't right. So that's exactly what he did. That's what he's doing.
Von Joe,
So
I appreciate that. I like that.
So
Anything else
that,
before I bring on
yeah.
anybody else?
So the thing is, the whole he didn't like Tua and he didn't do this narrative, that part of the interview, and everybody keeps saying that he didn't like Tua, and they keep getting sources and third party narratives, but nobody. When you ask that question, everybody that came in here said, "Oh, wait, he didn't like Tua. We can have proof." Nobody provides proof, and that bothers me. Did I lose
nobody proof when they alleged sources say
exactly?
There's no proof to it.
Because one of the things I said, because people say, "Oh, well, Joe, you don't like Tua, Von Joe, you don't like Tua." I said one of my issues with Tua right now is you could easily say that Tua lied to us. And why I say that Tua lied to us is that when he came out, he said that he was healthy, but he wasn't. Now, did he do it to get a job in the NFL and to secure his family's future? By all means, go ahead and rock out. I ain't going to be mad at you for doing that. But again, just understand that you put yourself in this situation that we have a certain expectation for you to meet. Now, if you're not healthy enough to meet that expectation and you need time, you should have just told us that. But because you didn't come out and tell us that, okay, this narrative is formed. So that's one of my issues that I do have with Tua, that he sat there and said he was completely healthy, and we all know that he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And it showed on the field that he wasn't completely healthy. So now people are defending him, but understand that you're defending somebody that lied to y'all straight up to get his money. And again, I'm not going to get mad at him for that. Again, that's just my point of view. I'm not going to say that's 100% correct, but I'm just saying that's what it looks like.
100%. Guys, I hear you say I'm lagging and I'm freezing up. I apologize. I don't see anything wrong on my channel. I see that. All right, Von Joe, get out of here, man. Let me bring on some other people here, bro. Thank you, man. Clanging and banging. All right, Jerry. What's up, Jerry? How are you, man?
How you doing? Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, man. What's going on?
I'm all right. I'm usually on TD's channel, but I came over here. Yeah, I usually catch you guys' show early in the morning, and
appreciate it, man. Thank you.
I've loved it.
I hope you like it.
Yeah, of course. I've loved the conversations going on, and I just wanted to speak on a few things if you have the time.
I do, man. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
So the first thing that I wanted to speak on was kind of what Pete was saying, and the people that's calling Flores a rat. Von Joe was right. He's more of a whistleblower. It's one of those situations where we see it all the time. People always say, "Why didn't he come out when it first happened?" Are you good? I see the camera went away.
No, I'm good. I just turned my camera off for a minute.
So people always ask, "Why didn't he come out when it first happened?" But how many times in our media have we seen such and such works for this news channel or this big business, and they were harassed 3 years ago and now they're coming out?
Correct.
You understand? We don't say, "Oh, well, why did she not come to the media earlier?" We say, "What? The job did what? Oh man, hold those guys accountable." How many guys have we seen, whether they're businessmen, newscasters, journalists, whatever, get fired over the past few years because of something they did to, men and women years ago? I'm talking about some even decades.
Yep.
Nobody is banging the table saying, "Why didn't those people come up?" No, you completely say, "Hey, you're the victim here. We're going to hold that person accountable." So I don't like this trend that, and I feel like it's mostly because of, if the news did not, or the rumors did not come out that Flores had back and forth with Tua, I feel like this fan base would be more kinder to this situation. But a lot of people feel like Flores is getting what he deserves. "Oh man, you were bullying Tua, so yeah, you deserve to be fired. You don't deserve to have a job. You're a rat now." This, that, and the third. They think it's his karma for what he put Tua through for the past 2 years. So now that he's coming out and he's the face of an important case, now it's like, no, he can't do that. He's not the guy that's supposed to be able to do that. And one thing I wanted to speak on was, people always leave out the context of racial nepotism. It exists.
Mhm.
You have a room full of guys who usually want to hire coaches that look like them.
And
You
not only
understand?
that,
And it's
you know who you know, and so if you have a relationship with
exactly
somebody, you're going to hire that
so
person.
so
Which is what. Let me interrupt. Which is why when somebody brings up, well, you should have, require 2 or 3 head coaching positions to positions of minority. I don't think it works in that scenario either, because I think you're going to get, well, I want to hire this person for this position, and
exactly.
I just don't think that it would work. I don't think that's a solution either. That's
I,
just my
I think
personal opinion.
I think that's the part that people don't understand plays a very important part. I mean, look at the ownership. Stephen Ross already has somebody lined up. Essentially,
Mm-hmm.
this is how it works. This is how
Mm-hmm.
the nepotism works. So if you're somebody who let's say, for instance, just for lack of a example, a famous black athlete or actor wants to buy the Dolphins. Now that they're like, man, I have to go through this guy that Stephen Ross practically already chose. And
Yeah,
it's he has first dibs on the situation.
100%,
And
man.
for a lot of fans are like, whoa, 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 that's unfair. Why does Stephen Ross have the situation where he has first dip? But that's a lot of the ways how the coaching process works as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like it. Oftentimes these black coaches are like, hey, you want to hire? I'm coming in for an interview. You've only known me for 1 year, but then there's this coach that you've known. You've known his father, you've known his grandfather, his kid. He went to the
Mm-hmm.
same school as your kids, and now
Mm-hmm.
he's coming for the coaching opportunity. And usually just because of the way things are, they usually end up being the same demographic, the
Mm-hmm.
same demographic. And now I have
Yep.
to beat that guy out. I have to beat the guy that you've known for 13 years. You eat dinner with his parents. You do this, that, and the third. And just because of my background, and I used to be an ex-player and this, that, and the third, I don't have the opportunity to have that. I wasn't able to go to the schools that they went to and build the relationships that their family built throughout this NFL, because nepotism is very real in the NFL.
Yeah.
And so I think people kind of take that away. And so when they say, well, I want to hire the best candidate isn't always hired. There is favoritism because somebody knows someone's uncle, somebody knows someone's aunt,
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the way our society is set up, those somebodies aren't always black, because black people aren't always at those colleges that these business owners kids go to. Black parents aren't always at those programs or whatever to where they can mingle and network with owners and coaches and build a mesh of a community that the white coaches and players can do. You
Yeah.
understand? They don't have that luxury. So when you say let's hire the best guy available, but someone like, let's say for instance, McGowan, his family probably has had years to, work with guys like the within the Texas organization and build a relationship with the owner in the background that we have no idea about. And then you bring in Flores, the only thing he knows is the coaches on the staff.
Yeah.
The Texans are gonna go with the guy that they've known for a longer time,
I
whether we
got you.
know it or not.
Yeah.
So
All
those are
right.
just a few things that I think people genuinely ignore as a fan base. And just to end it, because I know you're really pressed for time. If I genuinely think you were right when you said if this was happening and Flores was on another team, we would be kinder to the situation. But
We
because
would
of
be 100%.
quote unquote, you have Brian Flores, and he was mean to Tua and this, that, and the third. Now people have a certain vendetta. They feel like if I agree with this Flores thing, then I am validating how he was quote unquote treating Tua throughout this entire time. And I'm telling people, just take the Tua situation away, which, as from the clip, it might all be a lie from the I am athlete clip, because Flores himself said ask Tua.
Yeah, dude. I when that interview drops, I'm gonna share it because I think we should all watch it in its entirety. And come
Yeah,
Monday, that's what we're gonna talk about on Monday. I think that's a really
exactly.
good conversation to talk about. All right,
Yeah.
Jerry, man. Thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for
Thanks, brother. You have a great day,
watching,
man.
bro. I appreciate it, man. All right,
Yeah,
guys, Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. All right, I got 3 people left in the back room. It's 11:49. I want to let you all have an opportunity to talk. Just want to let you guys know I'm up against the clock. So let's I want you guys to make your point. I'll try to bring it in and out, and we'll go from there. But I do want to bring you in. Lance, don't go away. I want to get your thought, Lance. Don't go away, Lance. Come back in. All right, let me bring you in. Estefan, what's up, Estefan?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Spurs still
real
suck.
quick. Yeah, I don't I don't entertain y'all peasants.
Y'all peasants.
Look, bro, you know I got love for Flo, bro. I feel like he was fired too early, but hey, man, and it don't have nothing to do with Tua, and you know what I mean? Because a lot of people base how they liked him as a coach based upon all the stuff that happened with Tua. And I'm not a Tua hater, even though everybody thinks I am. I just like this style of coaching. It was creative. So I say that to say this, even with all this going on, everybody rushes to judgment one way or the other. And I agree with a lot of what you said. And I think you have the right approach when you're on the fence about it. You know what I mean? You're not leaning too much to one side or the other. And the reason that I say that is when all the facts come out, it could be proven that maybe some of this stuff ain't true of what Flo's saying. Who knows?
What I will say to that, Esther, is I think he has at minimum circumstantial evidence. At minimum. But that leaves benefit of the doubt, right? Like and
right.
But I believe at minimum he has circumstantial evidence to back up every claim that he has.
See, but I mean, at the same token, you also got to keep in mind that, he's saying he's got evidence and whatnot. So when you have people like Christolakis and I believe Larry on a TD show telling you, and even Reason had some attorneys on his show saying they're going to settle out of court. That's pretty much telling you anybody that's dealt what, either had to pay a lawyer and deal with the lawyer directly, which I have, when they're asking you to settle, it's because they don't believe they can win a case most of the time. And I mean, it's almost astounding how many attorneys are saying that right now, or have people that have backgrounds in this. You know what I mean? So yeah, you can't sit here and say that he's a snitch. Just wait for the facts to come out before you.
I like the word whistleblower. I like the word whistleblower. I think that's a fair word.
You can say whistleblower. All I'm saying is if it gets settled out of court, there's a good chance that he actually did have some evidence. And and I got love for Pete too.
Hey,
but
breaking news. Miami Dolphins are hiring Patrick Surtain as a defense assistant to the DBs. Miami Dolphins are hiring Patrick Surtain as a defensive assistant to the DBs, and that's coming from Andy Slater, who is a talk show host and on-air personality in Miami for Fox Sports 640 and iHeartRadio.
That's what's up, man. I like some of these coaches. But just to stay on point real quick. So when Pete was saying you got to take your homer hat off, I really don't think that you're taking your homer hat off when you're accusing Flo. I don't think that's being objective, bro. To honestly sit here and say, because a lot of people are mad because they think it's going to affect the Dolphins. And I think there's two types of people in this that are opposing Flo. They're either coming from the standpoint where they do have their homer hat on, and they don't like the fact that it's going to affect the Dolphins. And I got to be honest, there's always going to be the racial vibes, because he's not light enough. So, and I'm not saying that I think that minorities should be hired or have favoritism or automatically get a job like Batman stated earlier. I actually don't agree with that, and I'm a minority. The reason that I say is like, white people are people too, bro. So if I know it sucks to say this, but I think it should be the most qualified person should be the person to get the job. If I'm running a business like Pete, Pete said earlier, I don't think you should automatically give them jobs if they're underqualified. There's no way to go about this in a perfect way.
I think part of the solution is allowing people more opportunities, people of color, minorities, African Americans, whatever, black people, doesn't matter, whatever you want to call it. They need to have more. There needs to be more opportunities at lower coaching positions so that they become more qualified down the road. So now it's an equal and level playing field. So you are correct to a certain extent to say, hey, look, this person's more qualified. Well, they're more qualified because they have more opportunities.
I think, you do need another minority owner. I think that would help get it there, but I don't think the Rooney Rule is the solution.
I think it's a foundation.
At least get another one in there.
It's a foundation. All right, man. Let me let you go.
Because that Kong guy, he's the only one. But that's it, man. That's it. Thanks for having me on. And Peacemaker was dope. Later, man.
All right, man. Be good. All right, bye-bye. All right, Flipside Fishing says, hi, I caught it. I told my dad yesterday, don't be surprised if Madison hires Surtain. He's been coaching high school down here. This is awesome. Brian Cox next. Hey, look, Patrick Surtain, I think the moment Sam Madison got hired, he's like, hey, can I hire my boy as Patrick Surtain's more than qualified, but man, to have Patrick Surtain and Sam Madison to help the secondary, I mean, look, as a fan, awesome. But I also think as a fan, am I being duped? Are you trying to pull the wool over my eyes? I got to ask that question. But we're not talking about that. We're going to talk about that more on they did, Bond 954 just broke that they hired Patrick Surtain as a defensive backs assistant coach. All right. Donald from San Antonio. What's up, Donald?
What is up, Stephen D? How we swinging, baby?
Man, we're swinging for the fences. That's what we do here on Clock Blockers, baby.
Hey, there we go. There we go. Hey, look, let me first preference this. I like the positivity, just like you're talking about on a Friday. Mm-hmm. But I could not sit back and listen to this, especially hearing Pete. And I understand it's good to have opinions. But let me tell you one thing about opinions, Pete. Opinions are like armpits. Everybody got two, and normally both of them stink. I don't want to hear your opinion. I don't want to hear your opinion. Let's get to the facts. The facts are this. Did Brian Flores contact Bill Belichick? No. Bill Belichick contacted Brian Flores, whether it was intentional or unintentional. You talk, and especially calling Brian Flores a rat. You, and I like your term, Stephen D, a whistleblower.
That's Von Joe's term, but I like it.
Yes, but you act as if as soon as Brian Flores was fired, he went to the media, he got his lawyers, and he began to do all of these things. That's a lie. The facts are, when he was fired and let go, what did he begin to do? Begin to align to jobs to try to get hired. That's what he was doing. The whole premise of all of this is that you talk about, the owner can hire who they want. This is true. But if I am an individual going up for a job, putting my money out to try to get to a, say, interview, paying out my money to try to go to the interview when I know and find out that, guess what? I'm not going to be hired in the first place. I don't care how well I interview. Why in the world go to the interview? Brian Flores did it because guess what? He did not want to be said that he turned down any head coaching interviews for a job. Now, when his lawsuit came out, he was very smart in two regards. One, he went to the interviews knowing good and well he wasn't going to get hired. Number two, the two remaining jobs that were there, New Orleans and Houston, he had already let those individuals know, I am putting forth a lawsuit. You see, when you're back, now this is one thing about a rat. When a rat is backed up against the wall, it will come out fighting. Because guess what? They backed that man up against the wall. When you're talking about him and his family, you're taking away his livelihood. And at the same time, he did not come out talking anything about Stephen Ross and what he had done. He kept that to himself. And if it would have been a fair shake for him to get a job or at least go to an interview and be selected out of the best candidates and he didn't get it, I don't think you would have heard a word from Brian Flores. He knows how the game is played. In fact, Stephen Ross needs to be sending him a thank you note with some money in it because he had Brady on that boat and him coming from the Patriots, he knew good and well you were breaking NFL rules. If he would have went in there, he would have been complicit with Ross. So don't give me this mess of trying to absolve.
He did. He walked away. That's integrity.
Or anything, exactly right. Don't try to sit up here and try to paint the picture because you're a doggone Dolphins fan. I've been a Dolphins fan since '69, and I have never seen this kind of foolishness from this franchise ever in my life until Stephen Ross got this franchise. I remember when the Robies had this franchise. We didn't go through this foolishness. So Pete, before you start calling somebody a rat, make sure one thing, that you're not doing the same thing yourself. Don't give me this, and please keep in mind, Brian Flores was a rookie head coach. He made mistakes. He didn't do everything perfect, but you know what? Anytime you go 1-7 and you get your men in that locker room to go 8 straight and winning those games, do not tell me Brian Flores is not a head coach. Give me a doggone break. I am done. Please keep this foolishness to yourself. Don't talk about what blacks go through. We know what we are going through. And if you're not living it, shut up. I'm done. Bye.
Donald just dropped the mic. Donald, you need to come back on here. He dropped the mic. He just left. He just went. He didn't even say goodbye. Oh man, I'm crying. That's how good that was. Wow. I gotta look. That was a stance. That was whoo. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Donate to the channel. Help the channel grow. Share. Let people know. And not once did he have to give to the swear jar. Not one time, Drub. Not once. Whew. Wow. Von says my eardrums, bruh. All right, I got one person left, and I want to let this person talk because number one, I love them. They're awesome to the channel. They have been absolutely amazing to the channel for a very long time. Trucker, part of the Truck Nation that are all Dolphin fans, but he doesn't look like he's in his truck. He looks like he's in his house. All right, let me bring him on. Lance, what's up, Lance?
What's happening, brother?
Hey, man, just taking it day by day. Now, I'm sorry you had to follow that because I know you don't agree with you. You have a totally different point of view, but
yes and no. I agree with them on something. I agree with some things.
Okay, but I'm sorry you had to follow that up.
I'm looking at my picture. I'm looking at my picture on here. I almost look like Steve Jobs, man.
Almost look like. But do you have Steve Jobs money that you can donate to the channel? That's the real thing. See, Lance. All right, Lance, go ahead, man. What's your thought on everything, dude?
As far I call him a snitch. I don't like using the word rat.
Whistleblower. Whistleblower.
Well, terminology. I mean, the definitions and all that it matches. I mean, it's all the same. Whistleblower, snitch is the same thing.
They're not though. They're not.
They are. Look it up.
But so he didn't take the money. He tried to walk out of it. Okay,
I'm behind Brian Flores, for the most part. Yeah. I hope he does what he does because as far as the tanking and all that stuff needs to stop. Mm-hmm. I just wish he didn't do it with the Miami Dolphins. But
that's a fan, right? Like that's a fan. That's where
it is what it is. It's been going on for years.
Lance, I tell people that all the time lately. I'm like, I think as fans, we're like, man, we're in this again. Like, again, we're into some craziness. But he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
He's not wrong for what he did, but he did snitch. And if you want to call it a whistleblower.
So that's where we're going to dip. So
yeah, that's fine. We can disagree.
We can disagree. Society who in a situation and then chose to snitch on the operation. He is a whistleblower where he is seeing something wrong and then going out and blowing the whistle saying, hey, there's something wrong here. I need to say something. I need to tell the proper authorities in some way, shape, or form.
Everybody has different opinions.
So that's fine. And that's where I believe the difference is. What else? Now, I know that's not just where the buck stops with you. You have other thoughts too, right?
On what?
I mean, just the situation as far is that just it on Flores? About what about the fan base in general and just the division, I guess.
The division really sucks. I mean, and we never had this type of division. Mm-hmm. And I hate to say it, but
which is the one thing that Donald was just talking about. We've never seen this foolishness.
Well, the thing is, it's most of it I think is over Tua. And now, with the Flores thing, it made it worse. Tua, he'll never be a Pro Bowler.
Yes.
I just don't see it. Even with Michael, McDaniel.
I mean, and look, that's a perception thing, right? Like that there is perception. I perceive that to be, yep. Now we could be wrong. We could be totally wrong. And
yeah, I guess.
The
reason I say he'll never be a Pro Bowler because look at the quarterback class in the AFC.
That's fair.
But he has no chance of being a Pro Bowler.
I hear you. You're starting a whole new controversy, Lance. You're gonna get people riled up, Lance. Don't do that.
No, all the Alabama fans.
Roll Tide.
Yeah.
Right,
Alabama's great, but not for quarterbacks. Because basically the quarterbacks have all the time in the world behind that line, and they always have the best receivers. I mean, if you can't make it as a quarterback behind that Alabama line, you need to find a new hobby, new position.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, man, thank you for. I'm sorry to cut you short, man. I'm up against the clock, but I appreciate you coming on, dude.
I'll be on. I'll be off in March because I'm going to be part of that. I'm going to be part of the big convoy going to Washington.
Okay.
So, if I'm up there, maybe I'll take some, I'll show you some of the videos of all the convoy.
Yeah, man, that'd be awesome. That'd be great.
And if I can't do it, because it costs a lot of money, if I can't do it, then I'm just going to shut myself down for a week.
Okay. Well, look, I don't know if you and Trucker Sean have gotten together, but maybe we can do a trucker show, find some Miami Dolphin fans that are all truckers and go from there, the ones that are doing it.
Hey, I've been hearing a lot of talk about that, but
I know. I'm sorry, man. We'll do in March. Let's set it up for March sometime. We will set it up in March. We'll do a trucker show.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Let's appreciate it, man. I'll talk to you.
Love y'all.
All right, man. Be easy. Love you too, dude. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers. I'm your host, Stephen D. I hope you guys had a great time this morning. This was a lot of fun this morning. This was a lot of fun. There were a lot of things that we were able to talk about this morning. I think some healthy conversation was had that we talked about. They were good things. If you liked the show this morning, I ask you to do a few things. #1, please hit the like button and please share. Share the link. And #2, I need more subscribers to the channel. I want to get to 10,000 subscribers before the NFL draft. So this weekend, if your homework, all 85 of y'all, if everybody could tweet this weekend 10 people that they know with a link to our channel, with one link to our channel, right? So YouTube, and then Miami Sports Music, Miami Sports Music. All right. Here's the link to the channel. Copy. If you guys can find 10 people this weekend and share this link and tag them in a tweet or an Instagram post or something, I want to and say, hey, please go subscribe to the channel. Let's see if we can get 100 people over the weekend. We can get 100 new subscribers over the weekend. That's my if you could have that act of kindness, that would be great. Tag 10 people you know that don't watch the show and ask that you're really close to that are Dolphins. Hey, even if they're not Dolphins, if they like sports, period, but especially if they're Dolphins fans. Hey, guys, have you subscribed to this channel? Please go subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Be specific on it. Omar says, I post a video on my Facebook every day. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. It means a lot. It really means a lot. So, yeah, if you guys could do that, that'd be great. For those of you who also are able to, please donate to the channel. Help the channel grow. There's many different ways you guys can donate. I ask if you can do it on PayPal or Cash App. That's always appreciated. It is Spread Kindness Friday, so I'll put the link in the chat. You guys can Cash App me or PayPal me, but it goes such a long way into helping the channel grow. A lot of things we want to do. Or you guys can use the super chat, which is the $ down at the bottom of the chat. You guys can also, if you want to as well, sign up and become a member of the channel. There are plenty of different things that we have access to and links. So sign up today, become a member of the channel. Can I get one new member before the show ends? I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that. This was a very great conversation. This is how conversations should go. This is how conversations should go within the fan base on a debate panel or whatever. Today was great. Today was great. And I like the panel and I like the way that they work. But I think there's times where, hey, let's just go one-on-one. Let me hear your entire thought process. And I think today was one of those shows that was absolutely amazing where we got to hear everybody's point of view. There was really no fighting or bickering. I did let Von Joe and Pete come on, but it was such a calm down conversation. It was a great debate back and forth where we got to hear both sides. I really enjoyed it. Necessary conversations, Carrie. You are 100% correct. Von 944 says, great show, Steven. Yeah. Look, hey, again, like, share, donate to the channel, help the channel grow. It goes such a long way. I'm Stephen D. Go follow me on Twitter right now. Hey, matter of fact, if you are on Twitter and you are not following me, 5 people follow me right now. 5 people follow me right now at Stephen D. SKPL on Twitter right now. Go follow me. Let me get 5 new people tweeting to me. Okay? Go follow me on Twitter right now and tweet at me. And, yeah. All right. Hey, look, this was fun. Tomorrow, Monday, we'll have a great show. Whatchamacallit? Dono and Daniels will be back in 2 weeks. Dono is on vacation all of next week, I believe. Most of next week. And but I know he'll be gone on Monday. And then the following week, I'll be in Cancun. So the week after that. So 3 Mondays from now, Dono and Daniels will be back on Monday. So this should be a lot of fun. Next week, we're going to have Xavier Scruggs, I believe, comes on again next week. That should be a lot of fun. I don't think he came on this week. So, yeah, Xavier Scruggs will be back next week. We'll have a lot of fun with Xavier. We'll talk Major League Baseball. And I'm hoping to have a few more new guests come on next week. Maybe I'll try to get David to work on, talk some Panthers hockey. And maybe we'll talk a little bit more. I know on Monday, the conversation, if the interview drops for I Am Athlete this weekend, we'll talk about it on Monday. That'll be a great conversation to talk, the ins and outs of that. And we'll continue the conversation on Monday. So it'll be a lot of fun there. Guys, thank you for watching the show. Donate to the channel. Hit that like button. Let's go. The biggest donation of the day, $50. I'll tell you what, if anybody beats that $50 donation right now, I'll play whatever song you want. Any Solo D song, Tua song, it doesn't matter. Donate to the channel right now, and I'll play a song for you. Let's go. Brian, I already said Patrick Surtain. I broke that news when it came out. You already missed that breaking news. I was first on it, YouTube-wise, because I broke it live. Yeah, man. Let's keep it going. Floss and Ross. See, I can't. Y'all still going at it in the chat. Love it. All right. You know what? I'll play a song for you right now, and we'll see if anybody beats that, and I'll play whatever song you want. And that'll be the end of the show for today. Let's go. Darth Vader, where's the panel? The panel's gone. It's gone. I sent him home. I said, get out of here. All right. Let's go. Downloads. Spread Kindness Friday. Let's go. Miami sports music.
Do you remember when we fell in love? I remember, don't worry. Do you remember? I remember how it all began. How could I ever forget? It's the first time. Do you remember? I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. Coming in the air. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. It's coming in the air. Hold on. We fell in love. You remember the time. How could I ever forget? You remember the time. Hold on. We fell in love. You remember the time. How could I ever forget? Coming in the air.
Donate to the channel, help the channel grow. This has been a great Spread Kindness Friday. Remember, share the link to subscribe to 10 people this week. Let's get 100 new subscribers. Clock Blockers, home of the #1 Miami fan morning show. Let's go. We'll see y'all on Monday. See y'all Monday. Peace.